G2 Esports versus GENG.
And here we go, Toronto. It doesn't get any better than this. This time it's not an upper bracket final. Elimination is on the line. Who is going to stand tall at the end of this one? It's G2 versus GENG. Mimi, it's going to be good.
The last Canadian player left in this tournament against a squad that has lifted trophies at a Masters before just a year ago. Both trying to stay alive in this lower bracket.
Yeah, and thinking of GENG and the run, it doesn't matter what has happened so far. It doesn't matter how good they've been. They could go home in just 2 days. And as we take a look at the Omen map select, Lotus is going to be the first map that we see. G2 also picked it against PaperX. We all know how that ended up being. And even though it was a very close affair, there were so many moments where individuals were needed to carry the game.
And a little fun fact about that, this is exactly how their series started in Shanghai.
Yeah.
It was Lotus, and it was G2's pick, and G2 lost that 13-8.
GENG has not played Lotus since Pacific Grand Finals. And they weren't a Teo team on that map, but I do wonder if they're thinking about switching onto the Neon here as well. They've been so committed to that agent across their map pool. I think it would be a really interesting idea, but they've also been very strong with that default Raze comp, the old Fnatic comp, just subbing in the Vise instead.
I mean, if you're in a situation here where, you know, a lot's on the line, obviously elimination is what's going to meet you on the other side of this, no matter how the chips fall, Kukuka. Do you go for the adjustment in your composition, or do you stick to the thing that you know can very well get you that win because it did it last time?
I think that for them, it might be a chance for comfort. I think that G2 wanted to go for a map that they probably have not played on stage, as Mimi was just saying, and maybe not be as warmed up as the rest of them. Because if you go for something that they've shown a lot and you think you have a read on, they probably also have put some work and some hours onto that. Changes, I would say, to what they know. Probably that is the card that G2 wanted to play. Are you expecting us to pick this Lotus?
G2 lost both pistols to PaperX. They got bonused by PaperX. So last time they played Lotus, it was still a 13-11 game. They made mistakes in that series. They're in the lower bracket for a reason, but I don't want to overreact to that map because I still think G2's macro, especially on the defensive side of this map, is world class.
Yeah, the retakes I guess you're mentioning. Again, number one thing to take account of is the man that you're seeing in the screen right now is Texture. How are they going to deal with it? Is Jogimo going to be up for the task? Are the rest of the team going to be able to shut that man down?
Oh man, you can feel the energy here at the Undercare Centers. Everyone's getting ready to go. And once this game starts, I know people are going to be on their feet, unsure of what's to come, because both GENG and G2 are squads that could very well have been in the grand finals here in Toronto, but they find themselves scrapping for top 4.
I think it's extra pressure for G2 after being so close to winning in Bangkok.
Yes.
To go back to the same kind of demons that haunted them last year. They lost to GENG in Shanghai. They went out immediately after that, and that was GENG who lifted the trophy.
All right, let's see what we get for our agent select here. See what we get locked in.
There's surprises on the side of GENG. They have already locked up all their agents. Again, this is what they were playing at Pacific from G2.
Whoa.
Okay, that is a locked...
Locking the Tejo.
Locking the Tejo.
That is a lock Tejo. We have it confirmed. Did not expect that one from G2. Holy moly, Mimi.
So Teo still has some of the strong synergies with the Yoru, with the missiles. Drone It can still be a great tool on re-clear on this map, but you don't have the refreshable util there, so we just got to see what Trent's up to.
Yeah, and also putting Jogimo back on that Yoru, he was not feeling it on the Neon.
All right, well, we've got 2 of the game's best ready to slug it out, so let's get ready and send it over to 2 of the best casters. Here's Brent and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, excited to get into this one here. Now, me and you, Josh, we're deeply intimate with these 2 teams. We've been watching G2 goes from height and strength to strength. GENG comes so close in the past and even lifting a trophy as well. I mean, you look different. Have you got a haircut?
No, I'm the same old Sideshow. These are 2 teams that we never would have expected to be in the lower round. This
Two sideshows.
I need to have a word with security. This guy doesn't even look anything like me. He doesn't look anything like me. How's he managed to sneak in there? No. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The world can only handle one. What an opening that we've potentially got here, though. Like you're talking about, so much history with these teams, but I wasn't expecting to see these compositions being pulled out here.
Yeah. It's an interesting one for sure. And as the desk has been already mentioning as well, this is elimination on the line. A scenario that both of these teams were probably not expecting in the slightest as well. We're talking about two juggernauts of prior years. If you look at them in a vacuum as well, for each of these teams, equally, they've had moments where they've been potentially the best in the team, or the best team in the world. We would say that for G2, for GENG, moments in this tournament where they've had those heights. So let's take a look at the pistol round. It's slow going for now. GENG set up, grouped up. Ready to pounce, aren't they? Primed with that paranoia, but there's no contact, no signs of life from G2.
I'm so interested to see how Trent is utilizing his utility. Now that it's all changed up, Jorg takes contact. And he's out. Trent still with both salvos and a stun to work with.
Trying to take these fights as well, straight up here. Flashes into your face. Jonah P is able to just at least hold that crossfire setup. No pressure coming out. Salvos lay it down onto the floor. GENG now looking to contact their way through this scenario. And the refight called for. G2, they want to try and take the fight straight to them anyway, before they can even escape.
A beautiful pistol round there from G2. Never allowing GENG to cut noise and force them to go for some kind of information re-clear. They just force the fight instantly as soon as they hear that door open. I like that. Proactive, decisive.
One enemy remaining.
Last time we saw these two teams face, the only time, in fact, that we've seen these two organizations clash, it was at Masters Shanghai, a 2-0 victory for GENG, where G2 also picked Lotus, and GENG got out to a 7-0 lead. So immediately history not repeating itself.
This could be dangerous though for Jorgamo. He's out into the open here and he needs some help! Or does he?
Spike down A.
Target-rich environment,
One enemy
and
remaining.
he flourishes with the rest of his team by his side.
That's very clean. GENG are a difficult team to put away even when you have that massive weaponry advantage. They've been winning a ton of those rounds on ecos after the pistol.
Yeah, one of the highest win rated teams at this event when it comes to pistol rounds. But not just that, like you mentioned, when they lose the pistol rounds, it's just rare enough.
A.
They end up winning almost like 60% of them. Following up, so
And they're
G2...
they're not even forcing like G2
No,
are.
they
with
aren't. They're
stickers.
just taking them straight up as ecos most of the time. It's a lower sample size, of course, but it is outrageous what GENG has been getting up to. G2 getting a win nice and early here onto Lotus. He's going to be setting them up cleanly, but okay. That's a nice little seize nade, and Jorgamo is no more obliterated.
Absolutely destroyed. And look how fast Karen is into a deep position here.
This is so pacey. Up through heaven. Leaf, just a head popping up and they've spotted each other. Almost ships in an eye, but still, it's going to be a smoke into your face now, and the A side is opened up relatively. They still need to clear some section of it. GENG going to make a move on now, and Plan's going to be committed.
Trent used one of his salvos out towards back rubble at the very start of the round, so he still has one to play with along with the stun.
Here's the paranoia. It's going to sweep through, dividing up most of the side here. Double drop down into pit. They're going to try and combine their might and their util, looking for the kills, but the crossfires immaculate from GENG. Coverage on every possible position.
Beautiful response from GENG, instantly getting the most out of their composition. That sees nade. Take a look at what it looked like from Jorgamo's point of view. He never got a chance to play the round. Through a flash, he's blinded up and gets hit by the seize of the nade just perfectly onto his position. The rest of GENG with better weaponry close things out. Ash is only 2 away from getting Nightfall online. There it is again.
Yeah. This time G2 learning their lesson. I mean, Jorgamo could take the contact if he wanted to. That is aggressive, Karen.
That's what Karen tried to do in the previous round. There was nobody in the smoke that time.
Trying to take a very fast, immediate adjustments being made by G2.
Yeah, it's a nice adjustment. I think the Pacific teams in general tend to be the best at these rubble fights, but G2 get the better end of it this time. And a drone immediately coming out from Trent. with 1:10 on the clock, just in case they've gone into a fast timing towards B. Texture being left over here towards Rubble, just looking to try to take a fight. As the rest of GENG move towards Mound, Valen defending C with a Paranoia in hand.
He's alone doing so.
He can get help from Leaf, though, on the other side of this door.
Prowler not connecting onto much. Lurk timing for Texture, seeking to take it, but 3 players, watchful eyes of G2, and Valen even getting one, and the exit. That is monumental. GENG going to be left scrambling here. Just Ash and Munchkin left alive, and risks to be taken. They want to stand a chance of winning this round. Munchkin going for a pick-off out towards spawn, but it's all watched for. Safe hands from G2, that discipline. It's always going to rear through. Flawless.
Necessary risk had to be taken there with such a player disadvantage. But by and large, these rounds, the last couple, have been decided based on the picks that were found at the very beginning, at the Rubble fight. I don't think Karen can go for this play again. It's a cheeky idea. You know, at Bangkok we saw Mako, I believe it was, doing some crazy teleports all over the map here on Lotus. Pacific teams are down to cook.
Yeah, they really are. And honestly, subverting my expectations for this game. When I think of these 2 teams, I think of methodical, disciplined, a bit slow at times, willing to work the map ever so slightly, but there is pace in this game. GENG have been throwing themselves at this A-Rubble fight over and over again.
I think it's really valuable to condition your opponents. If they can kind of force G2 to not fight over Rubble,
I'll find you.
then suddenly you're gaining yourself a big advantage.
Top of the top. Unbroken in time. Big reveal onto the 2 of them. Gives G2 a lot of information.
Foxy9's actually utilized his wall very early on to stop a potential B push. So that means it's not available for a post plan, where the Vice can be at its most deadly.
Doors opened up though. This is going to be putting Jorgamo under scrutiny. Can he deliver? Was it ever in doubt? It's 2 ripped away at a moment's notice. Sight's still going to be gained though. He's got no sound cues to work with. Still going to be TPing back and evacuating. Now with the dimensional drifting, even catching that late lurk. Foxy9, there would be no backup policy. GENG are the ones who are left scrambling, picking up the pieces of the round and just dying. Straight away, it's all set up from Jorgamo, isn't it? Valen being the closer.
It looks immaculate out here for GENG.
This is a team that is determined to get redemption.
Sorry, the G's are confusing me. Immaculate for G2. These rounds, I mean, Jorg should have been under a decent amount of pressure, but he's 7-1, and he deals with that hit, killing people who are barely looking at him. I mean, when Texture goes into the site there, he's having to split his focus so much on Blue Room as well.
Dimensional drift getting value as well. Just stands exactly where the player planting is, so Valen knows exactly where to spam. Huge round from Jorgamo.
When I've watched GENG play in this map previously, and this, I believe, is the first time that we've seen them here at Toronto playing it, they've gotten a huge amount of value from either Rubble fighting or getting really good lurk timings into places. I think that's something that Karen's excellent at, but Munchkin in particular, with the Viper, can provide you huge value if you default the rounds towards Mount at the beginning, because then Munchkin's able to get in on A and work his magic. And he really is a superb lurk player. But GENG haven't really been going for that. They've been trying to insert players into deep positions on A early on, and G2, they are so happy to be re-clearing, fighting, taking timings to be active. And with this double initiator, and both of them with information tools, both of the initiators, you know, you've got the Prowlers, you've got the drone, you actually have more re-clearing tools than even with the breach in the composition, you could argue.
Sure.
So these players in advanced spots are getting rooted out, and then GENG forced into site execs where they don't look great so far.
GENG have got to turn this around. Timeout taken, most likely for the next round. Weaker weaponry, Munchkin, he's blinds it up, just looking for the horn position. Jonah not starting from B, so
no,
wasn't the same horn position at all. Didn't even use it.
One of the anti-strats that people have used in the past against G2 is trying to punish Leaf. You know that he's going to be jiggle peeking or jump spotting this deep C angle. And Texture, he's got a Guardian in this round, so I think that's the kind of fight he was looking for.
This push out though, I mean, listen, Jorgamo is taking liberties. The deep drone from Trent Pryor. Here comes the hit coming through. Not shying away from investing the ult, so the knife falls in. And here it is, bodies collapsing onto the floor. GENG, it's a bloodbath! G2 just taking them over, and again, the weaponry wasn't ideal for Gen G. Got to keep that in mind, of course.
But if the weaponry isn't ideal and Texture's the only one with a Guardian, why is Gen G sending him into sight alone there instead of... Yeah, why are we not looking for picks? Seeing if we can bait out individual fights and rely on Texture's aim. It's a strange way of playing the map so far from Gen G. Feels a bit rushed, a bit forced.
And we might be seeing glimpses, I think, of what caused their downfall. We haven't really mentioned it too much, but against Wolves, Gen G, they threw away 2 leads in the second half of the maps. It's what landed them here into this lower bracket.
But this is the round they took the timeout for, Brent.
And it needs to come up with a good here, and now trying to face it, doubling up as that wall drops down! And there it is, Munchkin and Caron happy to collect.
This time, establishing slightly more passive positions, baiting G2 into fighting over towards Rubble, and then ripping them away when G2 overextends slightly. A 4v2, you've got to convert on this one. Has to be a second round for Gen G. And you know that Valen and Leaf are going to be looking to try to take risks.
Yeah, business is booming. Their money almost capped out. If you look at the kills, a lot of noise made. Valen's already got the one. Anticipating that
Munchkin knows the plan.
He's taken out. It's a 2v2 in the blink of an eye. Thorns deaded. Anything to slow down the approach, the onslaught. The G2 were delivering. Rapid run around. G2 looking to group up. Hit the switch. Moving around. There's a smoke into your face now, and you're going to have to call this timing well. It's disjointed from G2, and Karen's got his eye on it. Watch for one at that. Not to be outdone. Playing further back positions here. Gen G do not want to throw this advantage whatsoever. Weaving in and out, trying to ping pong here, but the time is ticking, and now it's ran out. Valen, no more chances. You can at least bring Karen down to the grave with you.
That's actually really important too.
Yeah.
They've done insane economic damage there. Yes, it's a must-win round for Gen G, and yes, they do get it over the line, but at what cost? The economical damage has been ridiculous there, inflicted by Valen and Leaf. What was that hop-up to delete Munchkin? He's waiting for the flank, but he's just not expecting that movement. And now, Gen G is still behind by 3, and they're coming into this one with double Guardians, light armor. They're excited about it, to get some on the board and starting to roll forwards. But it doesn't get any easier.
And the money's looking pretty damn dire.
Texture seized.
Quick takeover towards it. Might be seized. There's no follow-up though, because Jogamo's opted into the operator. The big boomstick. Now he reveals his hand. Had to shoot the Prowler, had to evacuate and exit out.
And Jonah P happy to use a lot of utility. There's only one Prowler to try to get kind of passive information. And they've had Jorgamo push back here too. So I think in terms of the macro game, Gen G kind of winning this round. Jorg's going to have to go for some kind of info peak. Nobody set up to punish though.
Gen G inserting a bit of a pause, I think, expecting that G2 were going to go for some form of reclear.
But that's actually allowed Jorgamo to get back on the line. Leaf in a tucked position.
If this ends A, wall up, wall down. There's a timing here that Gen G looking to utilize, and there's a Prowler connection. Still Leaf gets one.
G2 come back. G2 भाई क्या कर रही है? G2 आगे भाई. Gen G 2 पे. ओमन जाएगा. ओमन राइट में ओमन. अरे यार. 2v2 बढ़िया बढ़िया बढ़िया.
2 versus Gen G Valen. Trying to clear, trying to be diligent. Paranoia sweeps, no connection onto Caron. He's still going to see this one open. Sighted. Ash is seeing it. Takes the connection. Knows that he's off of it for now. But the C's did not connect. Smoke's going to be blossoming, blooming, covering the intent of G2.
G2 भाई Gen G के ऊपर भारी पड़ रही है. मैच तो बढ़िया होने वाला है. हेलो हेलो. Rage called, texture by called और texture को वैसे और मारा वैसे उड़ा दिया भाई को. ओ भाई.
Locked in.
You don't expect him to be out here. Smoke's
भाई कौन जीतेगा? Gen G या G2?
G2 under that pressure to perform a perfect lower bracket run.
कोई भी जीते, अपने को क्या करना है, ऐसा है ना भाई.
money. Bottom of the barrel purchases for GENG once more. Slow as you go. Just trying to dodge and weave past these bullets. Working the map a little bit for GENG. They're hoping for a pickoff or two, and rubber fight, hold up. Munchkin spotted out. Round to the side here, stun, maybe avoided. Jorgen was watching the one angle. Salvo onto the other. Got to deroot this guy, but Munchkin could potentially get some kills for his trouble. Spot him for the info, and everybody just calls it quits.
That's going to make Munchkin panic a little bit, now, this is one of the only rounds where we've seen GENG put that default over towards C, let Munchkin lurk, and a slower pace round. But it is on the eco. So how much can one guy really get done?
मेरे को तो
He's
लगता
calling the rest
है
of the team back over to him. Trent's fully out of utility.
मेरे को भी वही
No
नहीं
opportunity for
लग
those
रहा है
salvos to
हेलो भाई
regenerate.
रंजन भाई हेलो भाई हो गया क्या बैन खत्म रंजन भाई बैन खत्म हो गया तुम्हारा मेरा तो हो गया आज ओए अबे फिर बहुत लो है यार 25 देखा भाई जेंजी क्या कर रही है आज हाँ भाई तुम ऑन आते ही नहीं आ रहे यार लाइट का बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है दिन भर लाइट नहीं थी अभी कुछ 1 घंटा पहले आई है तो इसकी वजह से स्ट्रीम चालू गया तो आज नहीं करने वाला था बारिश इसमें बहुत लाइट जाती है हमारे यहाँ पे भाई यहाँ पे वाइपर बच जाता था आया करो यार अरे मैं कल तो बाहर हूँ मतलब कल तो दोपहर में देखता हूँ घर पे रहेगा तो आ जाऊँगा 1-2 मैच खेलूँगा आऊँगा तो भी पुश करना है मेरे को भी अभी कल तो स्ट्रीम नहीं कल तो स्ट्रीम में मतलब मैं बाहर हूँ वैसे कल मैच भी नहीं है भाई मैसेज कर दो हाँ हाँ डिस्कॉर्ड पे आपको मैसेज करता हूँ गया वाइपर क्या हाँ है बट ज़्यादा यूज़ नहीं करता हूँ मैं इसका है लेकिन ज़्यादा कभी कभार यूज़ कर लेता हूँ तुम्हारा नाम डाल दो ऐप पे आईडी मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट डाल दूंगा फिर
There's still plenty of utility here to make this work.
5v4
flash overhead
branch so
out of paranoia go button's going to be called for here by G2
अभी चेक करता हूँ
still Ash is doing tremendous damage and tremendous work Jorgamo let's try and clear up that upper area but the site is kind of flipped over GENG holy Jorgamo just locking on one to stand Caron 3 bullets left and just swarm
Ranjin Verma Ranjin भाई आपका डुक
just box GENG into the site and hit them with so much util. The operator from Jorg is also just getting astounding value.
Look 200 पे फोटो है वही है क्या?
He's always finding a pick as they enter the site. And then also still somehow being able to find value. Nice!
Wait, oh नहीं आ रहा है मेरे
GENG at some point in this tournament, after they've beaten Fnatic, I think, were most people's favorites to be the top team here. They need to wake up here in this game.
Looking out of it. Completely out of it with no real chance here. This is unbelievable.
Oh, Jorg is looking great with the op.
This kind of form.
देखो रिक्वेस्ट आएगा डीपी नहीं है ओके डीपी नहीं
And he's dominating texture. Texture's 2 and 10. This is one of the favorites for MVP here. If you were just looking at
कैसे देखो भाई डीपी नहीं है तो
I think it was Paperthin who
मारा
said
दे दो ओके
there's no doubt who the best player in this tournament is. Well, he's just getting shut down, shut out.
Walking around the map here, GENG are looking for anything. Bit of presence by Foxy9, maybe feeling The impetus is on him. Someone needs to step up and maybe get the ball rolling.
वो link ही डालूं क्या मैं?
They can as a timing. It's caught. Foxy 9 can't get more for his troubles, but maybe one is enough. Still, Munchkin also go on walkabouts. Paranoia connects. All up is going to be saved by it. Nightfall committed. G2 are just looking for info.
Yeah, that's just for information. Now they've only caught 2, but the sound cues.
देखो अभी आता है
A
क्या?
little bit oblivious and the spike
क्या हो
drops in
गया
no
भाई?
man's land. This is all going to be on
GENG
Karen.
क्या कर रहे हैं भाई?
Caron even being spotted out. Beautiful.
अबे 3v2
Leaf was just out into the open there, but watching onto every other avenue. G2
1v3
not letting anything else slip.
कोरोना में लेके आया भाई.
It is possible here.
Pick up the spike here.
वही उठा के लेके गया अभी.
10 seconds left.
Straight onto
भाई
the
इसको
side.
सी जाना था भाई.
This one all together now. Wide swing, wide face. Valens is feeling himself.
सी निकलना था भाई, इसको सी निकलना था.
The team leader, the IGL for G2. He's not required usually to put up unbelievable numbers, but he's 15-2 right now.
सी जाता भाई, आराम से प्लान करके निकल जाता था भाई.
That's a shot and a half though from George.
भाई मिल गया क्या आपको आईडी?
Rifles back in the hand of GENG though, as they try to close this one out with a 9-3. It's the best they can possibly hope for. Double operators, because the wealth is that large.
Last round of this first half too for GENG to put up anything. At least they've got the rifles.
G2 are just so active, they're already putting pressure on the B-Lurk player, finding out that Munchkin is over
टिटू
here.
आगे मत आओ भाई, कौन है?
Taking good usage of the
Oman और
fade.
Fred.
Okay, one of the first kills
One
going
तो
away
चला
for
गया.
GENG now.
Follow
Valen gone.
follower
See
कितने
how the rest
हैं?
of G2 end up playing this one. That's a tag through the wall.
Something 416.
This is not missing. He's everywhere at once. The TP took him out into the open,
416.
almost died for it. But did he anticipate Trent? He's tucked
Nice
close
one.
and tight. He's a few more, but a spam. Raw bullets coming his way. There's a lot of teams coming.
Oh.
for him, Yet still, he perseveres.
Oh,
Supreme.
3v1 1v3.
Munchkin scrambling. Looks
भाई जो भी नया है
right.
प्लीज सब्सक्राइब करो.
Dimensional drift
Like
squad,
भी
you
कर
can
दो.
see it on the HUD and Leaf just plucks him out
देखो,
of the picture.
उसको
It's a
देखता हूँ.
10-2 half.
Absolute domination.
तब तो कुछ भी नहीं
here
आया
for
भाई.
G2. GENG never had a
हाँ आ
hope in
गया
this
आ गया आ
half.
गया.
There were
डाल दिया देखो आपको
early
रिक्रूट
signs that
मैंने.
maybe they could have done something with those rubble fights, but as soon as G2 got going, they were firmly in control. It would take something miraculous for GENG to come back in the second half.
मेरे को नहीं लग रहा है अभी जेंजी कमबैक करेगी भाई. भाई कौन जीतेगा ये मैच? जेंजी जीतेगी या G2 जीतेगी? प्लीज चैट में बता दो. तो देखते हैं. तो लग रहा है 2-3 दिन पड़ेगा अभी.
Test the G2 are putting out. This is a squad that we wanted to see a resurgence from. You can see it reflected in the numbers. The Coinbase Econ report, it's all G2. There has been so far this entire first half. For GENG, Josh, listen, on the back of that Wolves game, we needed to see a resurgence. They lost that one. They crumbled under the pressure of the second half of each map. They really threw away their advantages. Here, they don't have an advantage to work with.
Absolutely. I mean, they could just be bombing out right here. This is elimination, and you can't go quietly. Texture in particular, I mean, you're seeing it here reflected somewhat, but once he gets onto the defense half, you need to be getting an operator into this guy's hands, I think. You saw what Jorg was able to do with it, and Texture's been immaculate with the operator, and so good on defense. If there's any chance here for GENG, you need this guy to activate, but you also need the economy to even put the op in his hands in the first place.
And so GENG need to get back into the business of winning these pistol rounds. And one of our best teams at this event, over 73% win rate with pistol rounds. That's how you get the economy booming.
Yeah, and then also they're going to have to fend off a G2 force buy with stingers, even if they do win the pistol. So pistol rounds, weirdly enough, in this particular matchup, don't matter as much as they usually do, because both teams are so good at winning even after they lose the pistol. Having said that though, it's a 10-2 half. So GENG need anything they can get. Paranoia used instantly with a haunt to fake like GENG are fighting super hard over Rumble.
Doubled up, it's a bit whiffy, it's tenuous at best. Flank taken, bullets rattled off. Ash weakened all the way down here.
नहीं भाई नहीं यूरू नहीं उधर नहीं.
Up the door, applying that pressure now towards C-Mount and the TP back. It's fakes on fakes.
And it looks like Valiant's got the read that this rubble pressure was a fake all along. It's only Karen.
Jump spot.
He's already used the paranoia as well. Yeah.
Smoke's barely available to him. He's just got to try and scurry towards the back, but again, Salva's at your feet. Thorns in front. Needs to step up and try and take this. Fight straight to them.
अबे यार थोड़ा सा लेफ्ट में आना.
Already just getting into all the cracks in the defense. Any sort of gap whatsoever. But
Reload.
the fight that Jogamo was taking, and he didn't have a teammate to help him.
So a chance here for GENG. 2 players controlling spawn and 2 players on the flank. Leaf could easily get caught out.
Player advantage for GENG. As you mentioned, Leaf could definitely get caught out, but he's positioned himself well indeed.
Nice one, 3v3.
Still fights happening on multiple avenues, multiple fronts. G2 filling up the feed and getting the better of it for now, but it's still that 2v2 and the damage done. There's no way! They're so damn low. There's still a chance for Texture. It's not planted for these G2 players. They're gonna have to get a bit of a
भाई दोनों भी लो है तो इतना लो है ना भाई. बहुत ही ज़्यादा लो था भाई कुछ भी कुछ था वो.
Red Bull clutch in the end. There was barely any health on the board. It was to some degree ridiculous that Texture was even left in a 1v2. Munchkin, I think, should have been able to deal with it. He did hit a headshot onto Leaf actually, but he was just a bit too focused on hunting down that kill. But nice composure from Texture in the clutch. And G2 are not going to go for a force here. So this is one of the few scenarios where G2 actually get the plant, get a lot of kills, and decide not to opt in. And I think this is actually the right idea, because if they force and lose, GENG are starting to build up some momentum. If you ignore the force, you're doing all right.
Kind of played a long con with the money, and okay, pistols in hand, actually still getting some value from it, even dinking Ash, bringing him straight down, Jogamo over there with a follow-up.
भाई क्या हो गया भाई गेम चालू होते ही 3v3 match.
Scattered with the players, Leaf is just going walkabout, seeing if he can bait out a bit of this one, and he's not even just baiting them all, he's full
तगड़ी हो चुकी.
Yeah, he's just sent that, hasn't he?
तेजो भाई जल्दी जाओ, सीट पे जाके प्लान करो. वो तो भाई ए पे खड़े.
Potentially.
वाइपर ने पागल कर दिया भाई.
Just be in the Venn diagram where he can get some information and call out for his team, but the
rotation all खड़ी करके.
from GENG, so I think he might have just missed it.
कहाँ है भाई?
A plant, but not a great one. Having said that, you're not going to be playing long-range off-site post-plants anyway.
दिख गया.
Jorg takes a full flash to the face.
I think Jorg might have just missed that timing. Onto Munchkin on the flank. Munchkin still working with the Judge. Not the best weapon, but...
A terrible weapon, in fact, for this flank.
He's hoping the rest of his team, I think, can try and push him into him potentially here. Orbs are going to be propped up here, and his timing's okay. Foxy 9. Gonna watch for eye onto that one there. Good connection with the flash.
भाई GENG comeback कर रही है.
Got to try and do it now with a classic. The weaponry finally gets the advantage that GENG were looking for.
Comeback कर रही है, comeback कर रही है, क्या करे भाई?
Can still keep their full armor, and so, while it looked like a very dangerous situation in the 3v3, GENG have managed to come through relatively unscathed.
भी buy round होगा.
Now they didn't go for anybody saving money here. They put a lot of respect on G2. They knew that the force was possible, so that means nobody's gone for a pistol round.
Last round or save round खेले थे.
Something like that. So So they're still working with mediocre weaponry coming into this bonus. But if they can convert here, maybe there's a chance to apply the pressure back to G2. And they're putting a lot of their eggs into this Rebel fight.
Yeah, bit of a preview of what's to come here. There's not much pushback, it's only Leaf. He's not going to be opted into all that. Combination of the util. It's going to set Karen up nice and pretty. He's got deep A main control now. It's going to make the guessing game off the map that much easier here for GENG.
Worth paying attention as well while we're on this attack half to how Trent's going to be using his salvos. Is he going to be looking to use them for site execs, map control, post plan?
Viper Orb ended up landing on the tusk of something. Caron feeling the pressure now with that util coming forward. Snake bite and a prowler. Sends out that paranoia. Just a clone.
Nice one.
Watching.
You need
Pixel ne mara yaar.
I think they may have seen a lot of players' presence though, so now they're going to be making a move over towards C. Foxy9 gets info. Storm's going to be deaded. He's trying to slow this one down, buy some time for the rest of his team.
No wall though.
Haunting through. Foxy9 just playing this one for the full retake.
Watch textures off. Watch textures alt here. They're going to try to push into him. A lot of pressure.
Salvos, this is actually disconnected. Ah, she still gets two.
भाई क्या कर रही है?
Beautiful. He was pushed into a really difficult spot. Yet still
Alt भाई अब गए.
Round towards the pillar. Texture has to be the difference maker and is.
Picture का alt तो एक तो बंदा जाएगा.
He's not much for them. GENG walk all over the site.
Story here though, at the beginning of this second half, is that Texture is now online.
Yes.
He's been getting multi-kills. He's been really impactful. Winning them the clutch, getting 3 in this round. Impact kills as well. He's rocketed back up towards the top of the scoreboard for his squad. G2 forced into a stinger buy. Not that they're bad with these at all, but they're starting to get ults online too.
You're feeling it now. I think a bit of confidence back for GENG. You convert the bonus like that. Spirits are going to be high. You know at this point, it's more than winnable. You just have to drag it over the line one round at a time.
The ult rounds are going to be the trickiest, and it actually could be right here. Nightfall gained. Jorg, if he gets a kill, has the Yoru ult.
Full util done. Foxy9 squares up. Being challenged, that's the util. The TP forwards, the wall's going to be deaded on top of it. There's 2 players on the way in, but they're looking left, right, all over the place still. Up and over towards the wall. Foxy9 out. Ash is in. Trying to flood defend this one side by side with him and Texture. There's a disconnect here. G2 have called for a bit of a pause. Util's flying back and forth. Cutting them up now with the smokes, including the site. It's divided.
3v4 चल रहा है भाई.
Doesn't really look like there's a safe opportunity to plant here.
Drone out wide looking for info. G2 with their backs against the wall. GENG have got them cornered.
Karen's actually staying all the way over towards Rubble in case G2 extract themselves, but Valor and Trent are really committed.
Hard stuck. GENG cemented themselves, rooted. High-low setup.
भाई ओमन.
How do you
भाई अभी तक.
I don't even
if
know.
you're G2?
They're waiting for the smoke time is for one. Propped up, now trying to take the fight. Ash! It's monstrous. Huge performance, timing.
Oh, nice one भाई.
This is it for Texture.
भाई किधर भी जाएगा तो मार ही जाता था ये.
GENG. This is what we were expecting from them. A bit of a bounce back.
G2 though chose not to invest any of their ultimates. They did have a couple that they had one, the Nightfall, that they could have gone for in that round. But this is what they're saving. This is why they didn't force in round 14. This is why they haven't invested any ultimates yet. It's because when you have such a big lead, when it's a 10-2 half, you know that you should be able to close out with ult rounds. And this is one that we're about to watch here. Jorg with the dimensional drift. Jonah P can turn off everybody's audio, allow Jorg to make a play. How are they comboing these, if indeed they are?
I'll handle this.
Sending it now though. Dimensional drift forwards. Salvo's in, breaking blue room, gives him access towards it. It's going to go for the B-split. Cheeky idea, Nightfall now, cutting away the sound user. Yeah, no!
Nice one.
As you mentioned, they cooked it up, they combined it up. The ults getting tremendous value.
And the Tejo getting tremendous value to knock through that door and allow a safe path for Jorg.
Very cool opening idea by G2. They need another layer to this one. Gotta watch for it. On top of the box, that's an angle that is hard to get onto. Texture is punished for it. Trying to peek past it. 2 plays up towards heaven. GENG to make it go for it. It's a 3-2-1 in the swing, but right through the smokes.
Oh, finally.
It's a hard fight to win. 11 rounds now. Finally, G2 get a round on the board on this half.
It's a tough one for GENG to deal with. It's just straight out of the strat book. Beautiful idea from G2. Gets them 1 step closer to the finish line. As long as you can convert those kind of rounds, you're not too worried about GENG winning the more neutral ones. It's a beautiful
यहाँ
idea.
पे टर्निंग पॉइंट हो गया भाई.
Trent's ult online if they need
हेड
it.
मार गया.
Didn't have to use it though, so maybe there's another idea here that Josh RT can cook up for them.
The round's already begun. Seeing emphasis placed over towards C. Now, Texture, finally.
Down, C.
Business booming operator in his hands, and now he can't really let loose.
Picture.
And this is where the danger might start to mount for G2, because when Texture has a
के
bomb,
बहुत
he
पास
can be
है.
a nightmare to deal with. If they were thinking about setting up some kind of play with the Taeho ult as well, that's no longer available. Entire game plan might have to shift here for Valent.
Creeping and crawling through B main.
This is a spot that Leaf himself loves to play in.
Yeah, with the wall. Munchkin get a quick punish off. They try and jump
कि भाई नहीं.
here at walking, and Munchkin! It's beautiful work.
भाई.
Astounding stuff from the IGL.
1 enemy remaining.
And G2 are just dropping like flies.
Fantastically clean round there from GENG. Once the economy started booming, as you said, they got the ult, they got the Odin. Players into standard defensive positions. And Texture and Munchkin looking lights out. G2 forced onto another eco round. And they're going to take a tactical timeout here. I think a lot of this is going to come down to, do they have another good ult round in the bank?
Yeah.
Can they try to concoct something with the Armageddon, with the Viper's Pit? And GENG, this is another opportunity for their coaches to try to add input and preempt those kind of game plans.
GENG
Very
good
defense-sided map though so far.
It is. Yeah, game of 2 halves really. GENG coaches are very good at preempting certain ideas, trying to predict, feed information. Munchkin has definitely highlighted that in press interviews, talking about how good the coaches are, I think, at actually setting him up to be a really fantastic IGL, always anticipating your enemy's moves. And they are dragging us forwards 1 round at a time. Dragging maybe the wrong word for it at this point, because GENG are in full control of this half. With G2, they do only have to get 2, yes, but sometimes those last few rounds can be the hardest to get.
And you might think that G2's composition should be great in the post plant, but it's difficult to get to that spot. You know, Trent usually is not going to be able to save his salvos to just play some kind of cringe post plant setup. G2, they like to play for retake a lot, but GENG are only playing about half the time to let their opponents plant. So most of the time they're playing up front, denying you at the choke points, and Trent's going to get his util forced out early.
कोई भी नहीं
है. Flash into his face, still pre-aims that haunt.
बार-बार सी क्यों आ रहे हैं भाई प्लान करने के? नहीं हो रहा है तो भाई मत करो ना सी.
Players, does he have a backup policy? I mean, he could have exit. It's Foxy 9. That's the bloody policy.
भाई क्या है?
Nova still cleaned up, and this against the G2 with not too many guns. Upgrades are going to be acquired off of that.
गन तो मिल गई भाई इनको. इन्हें रिकॉन फैंटम लेके बैठा है ना भाई. नाइस वन. भाई एक ऑपे और एक बूढ़ी ने भाई.
Dire straights here for GENG. Pit now swarming out wide.
Woman भाई प्लान कर भाई जल्दी.
Ash trying to go for a bit of random spam, see if he can collect these kills, but there we go. Sees and an aid, and Valen is no more. Still the pit remains.
उसने मार ही दिया टेक्सचर ने. Nice one. Yuru. 1v1 वाइपर नहीं, वार नहीं आने हैं. Nice one.
That's incredible precision there from Leaf at the end.
भाई वाइपर बाहर आता ना फिर खत्म हो जाते थे.
Ash had the read exactly on where he was. That is mad that Texture goes in and swaps away from the shorty to the off. I can't believe he went for that. But overall, a fumble coming out of the tag timeout that GENG cannot afford. Gets G2 up to map point.
Let's go, Damien.
And that's it, one more round is all it takes, and this is it, a brawl called for. Sees connects Dojo, Gamo attacks out with the operator.
Nice one भाई, टेक्सचर को उड़ा दिया, बढ़िया.
That's an ult gone now. Texture no longer to be the playmaker in this pivotal round for GENG. Map point for G2.
टेक्सचर को उड़ा दिया भाई, टेक्सचर को उड़ा दिया. The comeback हो सकता है भाई.
Both holding aggressive angles, looking to maybe be the playmaker.
Trying to make something happen for the rest of the team. More for the exit. Salvo
Oh,
the Foxy 9.
Crazy.
Just trying to play and overstay.
Completely flushed out by
5v3.
This is methodical. It's G2 dissecting the map up now.
तो कार्ड उसमें कोई भी नहीं.
Rolls it out. TP into the back from Valen as well. Full access.
भाई इसने अल्ट मारा है इधर. ओए.
If they needed him, he showed up and put up here, and it's a pivot for B. G2 call for the pause, but
भाई नहीं, कोई भी नहीं लेगा. एक मत लो भाई. Nice one.
One player left to do it all. Caron, TP, throwing mind games into the mix, expecting potentially the pivot over towards A. But the plan is stuck now. G2 get into this one.
उड़ी नूटा भाई.
To lock up this map.
उड़ी नूटा.
And one kill is all it takes.
नहीं उठाए भाई. G2 जीत गई ये. चल. G2 को एक और मैच जीतना है बस. फाइनल में सीधा. भाई इधर अलग मैच चल रही है.
Like you have to take the
यहाँ
whole
पे
thing
अलग मैच
every
चल रही
single
है.
time, otherwise you're not a G2 Gozen player, and that's kind of a crazy.
Be able to get
गर्ल्स
these
की है
rounds
भाई.
on board on attack, but I mean,
G2 और
have
भाई
been
यहाँ पे भी G2
a
गर्ल्स
great
के.
सी पे हम क्यों नहीं
भाई तब तक जेरब भाई को देख लेते हैं ना भाई.
ये शर्लॉक
स्टार्ट करता है स्मोक नहीं होता
ये नूब शर्लॉक.
ये ज़ेरफ को कैसे पता होगा नहीं देना वो.
मैं क्या बोल रहा हूं? बात हुआ इस बात.
क्या बोल रहे हो?
ठीक है मैं सी जा रहा हूं. एक्सेप्ट
7-6 चल रहा है. असेंडेंट.
मैं तुम्हारी आवाज में नहीं फ्रेश हो जा. आई नो.
आज मैच.
आज शायद ये मुझे एक कॉफी चाहिए. मैं समझ गया क्या चाहिए मुझे.
गाइस जहां आएंगे वहां साइड स्मोक दूंगी.
मतलब कंट्रोल स्मोक यू मीन.
ओ मेरी फोटो खींची उसने, मैंने देखा.
फोटो खींचिए तो भाई अभी होटल भाई फ्रेम लगा लो घर पे वाइपर से लेके.
शेरिफ है गैराज में.
भाई है क्या.
बहुत तेजी से जा रहा हूं लेने.
ए हो रहा है क्या?
क्या कर रहे.
78 नहीं हो रहा.
ज़ेरफ बंद कर दे. ज़ेरफ क्विट कर.
Player standing.
जेरब भाई क्या कर रहे थे.
ये देखेंगे हम. ये देखेंगे.
गाली सुधा भाई.
देखेंगे और आपको भी दिखाएंगे. ज़ेरफ एक ZEREF ज़ेरफ. इसने टट्टी किया है गाइस, बहुत मेजर टट्टी किया है.
बहुत गंदी तरह से टट्टी की.
रुको देख रहे हैं गाइस. हम मैच के साथ देखेंगे. नहीं जा हेडलाइनर्स खेल. रुको रुको
क्या किया इसने
तो भाई
ZF mute क्यों है
भाई इधर आ रहे
ये आ ही नहीं रहा
थोड़े लग गया जाओ ना ड्यून खेलो ना
आए नहीं है खेल
गायब हो
Tired.
Wait, B-mid. The turret's still up.
अरे भाई मर चुके
भगोड़ा इन
ओए
नो टाइम
10 seconds left.
नो टाइम भाई स्पाइक नहीं है सेव करेगा Bro, try Apex Legends. My Apex account is banned.
The public. The public. ना भाई क्या करे अभी चलो भाई अभी स्टार्ट होने सेकेंड भाई ये कॉपीराइट देते यार ये नहीं बजाऊं
I'm now
अच्छा
joined by
लगा
their
तो
coach Josh RT. Now, against Paper Rex, you moved away from the Tejo. So what made the Tejo fade as well more viable in today's scenario?
I think mainly I was looking at informational control. I noticed that GENG has a certain style that I feel like we can read ahead and get ahead of the play. So why not just use two info agents in a sense? Not to mention like the util combos that we had. We can just carry that over from our previous meta. But we mainly just took this risk because we felt like we had to. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. That was a masterclass. Good luck on map 2.
Hey, and that is exactly what we were saying up here on the desk as well. They needed to throw something at the wall, and well, they ended up throwing the thing that they've always thrown at the wall throughout the course of stage 1, which was Tejo, and that, as well as the sum of all of its parts, worked together to get G2 that victory. Let's take a look at our Verizon high-speed moment of the match, and you know you got to give it to the dog. It's Jogamo, who's got just all the plays.
स्ट्रीम चालू करता ना मेरे को बहुत नहीं
And speaking of the changes, of course, the initiators are
Don't
important,
think-
but it also lays down on
4
the
बजे
comfort that
Oh.
Jogamo was finding back in the Euro.
Tuncha.
I think that for him, he feels more comfortable with this. He feels like he
बच
has the
जाते
freedom.
यार
He reads better and fits better within all of the plans.
तो
And I think that just like Josh RT was saying, they knew what they were trying to achieve with this composition. That is why
That's
this
like
round, 10-2 on the first half on the defense worked so well because they had a response to everything that GENG was putting on the table, and it was actually very similar in most of the rounds. And this is the comparison on the first time that he played that Neon, and then today with the Euro. Maybe the numbers are not that crazy out, but I think you can tell from round to round, especially on that defense,
And the results.
how well, yeah, of course. How well Jogamo was feeling in that first half.
The biggest thing for the strength of their defense that I think makes the Euro pick so good is those fast rotates with the TP, and once Jaw gets the op in his head. Because if he's starting over towards C, has an A fight going on, he's instantly TPing. He's really aggressive at reposting on those lines. I think it makes their macro on defense way better when he does play on that Euro. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that macro overall, because I think that G2 had a great read on how to play around a lobby. GENG is a team that loves sending the fights there round after round. And G2, they conditioned those early fights. Obviously, they have a Teo double initiator comp. It's going to be good for that. But later in these rounds, they showed a lot of different, more passive looks where they're playing deeper on site. They're refighting. And look at the pistol round here where they go for this active re-clear play. Later on in the half, it's the operator going for those reposts in the mid-round. And it was a really nice read into how GENG plays that.
Yeah, you really did get the idea that whenever those plays were starting to manifest themselves, GENG were kind of like lost and not sure how to react react in those moments because G2 were hitting them fast.
They kind of decided this, right? Like G2 were very, very heavy on A. They were fighting for that rubble control. They could have at some point been like, okay, listen, we're gonna lose it for the first half of the round, and then we're going to really re-clear it. But I feel like GENG thought that they could be like one step ahead, and they simply weren't.
Yeah, they were not indeed. G2 as well. It's funny, watching this game, if you took away all of the name tags, told me that the defenders were G2, I would think this was the XLG game again. Like, I don't think G2 was phased at all that the opponent was GENG. The same fast reaction, the same confidence from all of these players, the being on the perfectly same page in all those ways. It's the exact same stuff that won them the XLG game, and that's so good to see against an opponent that on paper should be way stronger, should be way scarier than XLG was in Toronto.
Yeah, no, that's a very good note there. But now we're left wondering, what does GENG do to bounce back into it? Thankfully, we have just a person to get on the case. It's Yinsu standing by with the coach of GENG.
I'm now joined by Coach Solo from GENG and Jen to do some translations ahead of map 2. Now, Haven is going to be very important for you, especially having a nice start. So what is the most important thing on that attack side?
감독님, 아무래도 헤이븐 시작부터 좋은 흐름을 만들어가는 게 중요할 것 같은데 공격 때 어떤 점이 가장 중요할까요?
일단 G2 선수들이 팀워크 부분이 뭐 전략 부분이 이런 거에 좋다 보니까 그 부분을 이길 수 있도록 공격적으로 저희가 맞받아치겠습니다.
I think we have to bring a lot of aggression into our first half since G2 they have great teamwork and great strats.
Thank you very much, Jen, and thank you, Coach Solo. Good luck.
All right, well, they're going to need to be coming out with a lot of aggression here. Haven is going to be the battleground for map 2 in Kukuka. We've seen, we've seen both teams have success on this map, have some struggles on this map. What are you looking for here?
I'm looking for that Vice that we saw from that I think changes a little bit of the shape of the map this time coming around for the side of G2. GENG, even though this has been a good map for them in the past, they were able to beat Fnatic, also changing a little bit of the composition here and there. I think that they have to be very ready and sure that they can read onto all the layers that G2 are having on this Haven.
Texture had a really rough first half, as did the entire team on map 1, but he bounced back, had some big moments to win that bonus, make the map look at least a little bit more competitive. And you must look to him going into Haven. They've beaten MIBR and Fnatic on this map at this tournament already, and in both those games, Texture's Neon was one of the biggest reasons. I would argue that this might be his best map with that Neon. On the attack side, his dives are on point. On defense, when he has the AWP, it helps them out in the way they call so much. He's a beast here.
How do you stop him then if he's going to run roughshod all over you with that Neon?
I honestly think G2, again, just on their attack side, slow things down a little bit. This is a map where they have a lot of good initiator utility to play into those re-clears with that Fade and with that Yoru to work in conjunction. You just cannot go in too quickly to anywhere he might be because he's so willing to disrespect you and walk down on the extremities.
I think that a good job that G2 have been making and measuring the distances that they're given and how much they're investing, not only in utility-wise, but also the bodies that they're putting onto side. We saw it yesterday. I think it works very, very well. And again, to me, is the layers that are going to be stopping Texture on the other side. That Vice, Leaf, playing there with the performance that he had yesterday, he's going to have an easy time, at least in my opinion, replicating that.
Here we go. What's up?
Hoping to see more from the rookies here for GENG, obviously.
Without a doubt.
Texture started on a rough map, but both Ash and Foxy9, not really a rookie in his book, but still, I think has to prove himself globally. Those two guys were paramount in GENG, making it this far already. They need to be themselves on this map.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary here for either team. You see those double smokes coming in for G2 Esports, so they're going to probably lock in that Omen, but Valen's barking at the troops, letting them know what's really good before they start this matchup here. But yeah, I mean, my eyes immediately Kukuka get drawn to Texture in that Neon, and also I'm curious to see, as we had mentioned previously, how those rookies are going to set up, because this is it. You lose this, your tournament is done, you're out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, I would be more looking at Munchkin and Valin. We heard a very good speech coming in from Valin. The pressure is on GENG. There's the ones that have been performing, and everything could be done in a matter of 2 days for them. Right now, with all the momentum that G2 had over that Lotus, where, let's be honest, they dominated GENG, they have all the ingredients to put this in 2-0 fashion. And also looking at them, again, starting from the defense, I expect to see more of the same that we saw in the first map. Jogamo, if they start snowballing, just getting in that operator early and having a lot of impact on the team.
Well, GENG is in a spot that we did not think possible. They're facing elimination. They have to force a map 3 Toronto. Let's get some energy as we send it over to your casters, Brent and Sideshow.
Exactly right, it's all on the line. GENG, they have their home territory of Haven, their own map pick, but are up against a G2 squad that are raring to go. Valen in rare form himself as well, getting morale up for the troops. They want to take this one, they want to take this one cleanly.
I love the fact that Valen said we want to change the narrative here today, because I do think the narrative has shifted massively. Coming into this tournament, G2 were the de facto #1 seed. If you asked anybody who the most sensible pick to win the tournament would be, it'd be G2. And yet, some of that confidence seems to have dissipated. GENG going for a fast play, paranoia onto Valen, taking a bit of damage there.
Yeah, just near-sighted for a little bit, stepping back into the Nano Swarm here. Front A control. A short, a long, GENG have it. Waiting for their time to strike.
Munchkin walking up, clearing Trent's position.
Oh my goodness!
Going for the right click.
Yeah.
That's devious.
And heads up as well, just to really be diligent clearing that angle.
That looks like anti to me, because Trent was holding that position a ton.
A lot.
Now, Jorg is containing them in spawn. So G2 can still keep 3 players on A and be very confident about this.
We'll see if it's GENG to get put into the blender through the smoke. In through short, double up with a crossfire. There's a lot that needs to be dealt with. Util flying forwards, and so are the bullets. GENG are not going to be denied this chance. Grabbing access to the A site, grabbing a plan indeed, and Jorgamo, despite the incredible form he's been in, this would have to be an absolute world-class miracle. He's brought it into 1v3, but they know his location. And Texture is even wrapping behind. Ash and Caron looking to double up here. A lot to clear if your Jorg flash overhead. It's going to signal that things are to come, and Jorgamo is going to be dropped. Pistol round win for GENG is a fantastic beginning. They needed this.
Yeah, I think it's a particularly good beginning because it showcases an awareness of how G2 have been playing this map, despite the fact that we've barely seen G2 play with this composition. This is a brand new comp that they've only brought out here for Toronto, and yet GENG already is super aware that they want to be fighting tight crossfires. They're not putting a lot of focus on kind of backside behind default positions. They knew that Trent was going to tuck up close, and then I think it was Jonah P did exactly the same, and both times GENG were aware. Already anticipating an eco round play, where G2 might be facing that mid-window. Slide across.
Yeah, triple face it early with Guardians and the rifle.
Yeah, and GENG actually doing a bit of disrespect here too. Munchkin and Foxy9 only bringing pistols into this round, which, against a team that can force quite a lot.
I was about to mention it, that deep A lobby control. G2 are walking all the way up, but it was watched for.
Yeah, I mean, Munchkin's just spamming into the smoke, isn't it?
Yeah. Jonah P handed the perfect line, but a double face in the end. There's too much to overcome, so GENG now turn up the pace a little bit. Started to get a bit of a move on. Leaf looking for a timing of his own. Rooted into the back of the site, trying to take a timing pass as Util. He's just spotted the bodies out, but Foxy9 will be the savior. And this should just be closed shut case for GENG.
See who wants to build up their ultimate. I mean, prioritizing Foxy9 potentially here would be a good idea. He's already got the pistol in hand as well, so he could go and chase this, see if he can grab another one. GENG with a very clean start to this map, and that's exactly what they needed. They just went down so early, almost without a fight at the start of Lotus. But we saw them start to get back into the game, and they do feel like they are at least shooting back, sharp.
Shadows traveling.
Not willing to go out of the tournament in easy fashion. Nobody chasing as well, looking for this kill onto Valen. So an ult orb denied. But GENG, they keep the 3 rifles that they bought into this round, and they're going to be able to buy up 2 more, so, or at least 1 more. So this is going to be Pretty dangerous bonus round here that you've got to imagine the GENG coaches have got a specific game plan for.
Hefty purchase for them.
GENG love doing kind of fake pressure. Take Garage early on and allow Munchkin to be the playmaker. His lurks through A are diabolically good.
Going to be another face in mid. Jorgen is going to be at least meeting them, two of them facing, and are they going to be expecting this? I didn't see it in the last round. Here it is, glide to the side, taking that fight out. Why? Jorgemo, only the one.
He does well to get one.
Which is crazy enough when you're facing that many players.
And here's that A lurk.
Munchkin, disrespecting, taking liberties. It's a core part of the way that GENG play is making sure that Munchkin can get those lurks off.
He's found this timing, hasn't he? Trent is jiggle peeking the angle, thinking that he's got information. If anybody was to cross short, he doesn't realize that Munchkin's already here.
Yeah, now the IGL calling for the team to get into position. The Prowler's good. Connection there. Trent with a jump spot. Gets the info he was looking for. Now there's 3 players of G2 here. They can put up a stand, but instead grouping up for the re-clearance.
G2 with a nice read. Recognizing the Munchkin's over here, and it's been quiet on the rest of the map, but they're playing B and C for full retake.
Prowler didn't connect. Leaf has been inserted though. Deeper position indeed. That's a critical one. You've cleared up A short now. A lot of the bite out of this A hit is going to be removed, and Snakebite just forcing the issue. Texture could have gone backwards, but instead chose to take the fight.
Just felt forced. His hand there. GENG got to be starting to realize that G2 have been stacking A really heavily and very quickly in these rounds.
30 seconds left.
Despite the fact that GENG came away with the win on the pistol, everybody from G2 was there.
28 seconds roughly. Sticking down now at this point, 20 to work with.
Revealing area.
He's the side that they're going to be looking towards. Still, it's a 2v4. That means risky business here for GENG. They're going to have to put the guns and bodies on the line, I think, to try and stand a chance for this one. The horns barely broken. Ash is going to be connected, rooted down into the spot, but no one's watching! Oh my! 2 dropped in the blink of an eye, but still all managed in the end by G2.
Got dangerous there for a moment, though, didn't it? An opportunity for GENG to win. G2 maintaining composure and dealing with that final player. Only 2 rifles survived that, though. It's a cool idea that we're seeing. But I do think Munchkin's a smart enough player to realize that G2 are putting massive focus on this A stack and A defense.
Yeah.
They're not playing A for retake in any of these rounds.
And a heavy premium on re-clearing A short.
Yeah, so I would imagine you do a little bit of A pressure, and Munchkin's going to be smart enough to realize that's opening up B and C massively. This time, though, looking like they want to pressure Garage early on.
A new beginning. Viper Wall is just one more element to really try and get past here. Deep horns alongside the flash.
We've seen G2 go for this play before. Put up the Viper Wall, flash horn through it. See if you can catch people as they're about to enter Garage. But GENG had a passive start to this round.
Yeah, patient.
Very cautious.
Perhaps anticipating it, actually. If they've done their research and their homework.
Yeah, super possible. And Ash still has this drone, which is a great tool for setting up texture for this opening kill.
Valen. They'll look to try and put a stop to this one. A lot of pressure into Garage. Wall still up and Jorgemo walkabouts once more. So many players waiting on the other side! And the timing just not, Core Force opposed, just not ready for it. Jonapi was in control of the wall in that spot, and that means the go button called for. GENG are forward, Trent not accounted for. Still, onto the high ground, Caron sets himself up and sets his team up nicely, but the Snakebite is going to be putting a pause to the plans. GENG have got to get a few more bodies in here, because G2 have them surrounded. Still that high ground angle, Caron getting amazing value, but here's G2. From all sides of things, they come out swinging. Foxy9 in a 1v2. Damage done to Jonah P. A bullet to the chest will do him in. The spike is retrievable, but only 14 seconds to work with the time pressure. He's going to have to commit to the B plant. Jonah P isolated, but the timing gets the worst of it. Jonah P gives him a bullet to the temple.
I really like the way that G2 have changed around their compositions. We didn't talk about it too much, but on Lotus, it was a massive change of comp that I think led to that dominant first half. And here, though it's not specifically against GENG that they've altered this composition, it has changed the way they've played a lot. I mean, they're no longer playing, they're playing a flood, just a ton more. The Snakebite there to put pressure onto the plant, and then they're through, they're in, trading out. Valen swings, Jonah P comes back in behind him, grabs 2. G2 are applying a lot of pressure onto GENG as they're trying to get the spike down.
Spam offered up on either way. Trent gets the better of it. GENG going to be grouping up now. Is the weaker buy for them.
And after a pretty good start to this map, this is where perhaps mental fragility is going to be a talking point. G2 trying to defend garage control. They do have Thorns, they have Flash, they have tons of different tools here for Leaf to stay in control of garage, or at least re-clear if they lose it.
And now just the Flash. Popped off, doesn't get the acknowledgement that there's players in there. GENG take that timing. Slipping in, Leaf has to be cautious if he wants to try and take this fight here and now. In that deep C position, Jorgamo cemented. That's going to be pivotal when his hit starts to come through. Leaf is just raring to go, man. He's just spamming through the smoke, trying to take that timing past him. And he's still not to be dissuaded. Sticks around and plays his life. Jorgamo now going to be taking a peek of his own. Fights to be taken on every single angle. Crunching GENG in their space.
GENG are getting dismantled here. The light weaponry isn't even the problem necessarily in this round. But GENG just got funneled into garage. Leaf was happy to give it up. Trent actually, after getting this kill, he re-cleared A long with a horn, got full info down there, and Jorgmo's got full info down C long. So they know that all 5 players are coming through garage. I mean, maybe there could be like one B lurk, but apart from that, they know 100% where everyone is. The macro game is getting dominated right now by G2.
It's how you have to play against a team like GENG. When they do play so lurk heavy with a Viper comp as well, Munchkin loves to take those timings. So you're seeing the game plan. G2, all the emphasis being placed on re-clearing, information gathering, deep positions that they can place players into to make the calling that much easier. Looking towards garage. Shock dart, there were no Thorns there to receive this.
If you've done your homework and you know that Leaf has this flash here, I mean, they've literally heard it. So you know that there's a period of time now where they're not going to be able to flash to re-clear information in garage. So if you can go and take it, G2 have got to be worried about it. So now the smoke comes up. Now G2 have got to be a little bit concerned. And this really is where Munchkin could try to activate on his A-lurk. He's just dodged a Prowler.
There's pressure on his shoulders. 3-2, it's a narrow margin in terms of the way that G2 are winning, but they're up a map. Haunt breaks it, he's going to reveal it. Inserted himself there into A long, and Munchkin's gone. Jorgamo.
They've got such great game plans for dealing with this. They know exactly how GENG are playing.
And they're just drawing the blood out of these GENG bodies. One step at a time. No fancy re-clearing protocols, just really just offering themselves up to try and take it. And now GENG, less than 30 seconds left.
And they look a little lost.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the game plan here? It's just probably going to end up being a save. They don't even look like they want to go for it. They are losing massively in terms of the macro game here.
10 seconds left.
They've put so much emphasis for months now, actually, with different variations of these compositions, on Munchkin being able to crack open A on his own. And G2 are hyper aware of it. They know that Munchkin has to take timings based on Trent's utility. He can't walk into a Prowler or a Horn, so he has to be trying to take the timings between those pieces of util. And then they're so ready for it. Yeah. Jorgamo pushing up short, catching him on the backstab as he has to retreat after the Haunt is thrown. And really, GENG's game plan there was to go and try to put pressure garage and force G2 to re-clear it. And then, all right, you know that there's 2-3 people from G2 re-clearing garage. They didn't even bother. No. They were just happy to give it up because they knew exactly what was happening. They knew it was fake. Brutal how much currently Valen is inside Munchkin's head. And the GENG coach is forced to take this tactical timeout to redress the massive gap at the moment that's burgeoning.
It's a 2-round lead for now, but you've got to get that fire back, that passion in your bellies to know that you're capable of going a distance and going far. Even against a team like G2, you need game plans to do it for now. getting outplayed, as we've already mentioned.
And you might think, all right, well, what about if you just do something fast? What about a fast C pop or a B pop? The problem is you might run into the Vice wall.
Yeah.
You don't know where it is. There's 3 good spots for the Vice wall. If it's going to be either at C main, it's going to be in the middle of garage, or it's going to be at the front of B. And you can't afford to run into it. Because if you do, that's probably a fast round just getting melted. And then if you try to go quick over towards A, well, that's where G2 are playing usually 3 bodies. And you're running into kind of potentially a snake bite or a seize or, you know, something that's going to lock you in the choke. So it's really tough to increase the tempo.
It's going to get even harder. Jonah P. That's a pit earned up, lays this one down over towards C.
And you can see in this round that Vice wall is in garage. So a flash, trying to keep GENG honest.
Deeper position.
They are going to walk up, though, and at least be able to bait the wall out this time.
Drone is here. They finally spot it. The wall's just trying to get baited out. A bit of jump spotting for it. Thorns are deaded.
So now you could back up and go into a B exec because you know the Vice wall isn't there. There is a little bit of freedom now for GENG, but C is tough with Jonah P's ult.
Still, Jonah P's now worried about his back because they've put that pressure into garage. They removed the util, and GENG looking in a different direction.
Recon back in 2.
Yeah, grouping up now for the pop. We're going to see it happen. Texture is going to be the tip of the spear. No players anchoring on site for G2. All up and over. Stun through main.
Last time G2 flooded. They didn't play a set retake. They were ready to fight. This time, though, they don't really have players in position.
Breaking a bit of the util. There's ults to be used for G2 if they want to try and play this one. The retake, and here's the first one, Dimensional Drift. Jorgamo is going to be getting information. Spots it out into the smoke, trying to body block Texture. It's going to be cladded there, at least with the Nightfall. It's going to be scattering forwards. Kieron. How the hell has he got there? Texture eliminating, trying to eviscerate a bit more, yet he's put down entirely.
Sova ult.
Leaf sticking, Sova only to get value. Is half onto the defuse already, and Trent is taken out. Munchkin delivering a death blow. 2 for it. Leaf has earned himself win cons potentially, but time is ticking in a 1v3. Good luck to you.
This is
off onto the edge. Doesn't stick it. He's looking for the fight, and Munchkin will give him it.
A good round there coming out of the tactical timeout for GENG. They were forced to call an audible after they ran into the Vice wall in garage. I don't think that would have been the initial game plan that the coaches called, but a nice adaptation from Munchkin. And Kieron here, I think he was just ulting to try to escape away from that dimensional drift. It was a Yoru ult paranoia play that G2 were trying to cook up on the retake, and he ends up kind of evacuating and catching somebody. That's a big one, an important one for GENG. But now Jorgamo with an operator, and he was doing nasty, nasty stuff on Lotus.
Yeah, phenomenal work. Has to take the timing a bit more passive though, because Texture lays down it, but it's just a half clearance. In for a short, deals with him. Shorty in the back pocket.
And then set up by Fade Utility to re-clear and get onto an angle.
Posted back up, trying to take that swing. That's Valen going down though. This should be the C side cracked open.
Enormous impact kill from Foxy9 on the entry. And they have Munchkin's ult to be able to work with.
Viper's Pit even being committed. Thorns to tangle them up. Leaf wants to try and take this fight forwards! When it just reduced down to the side arms. Even expecting where Kieron could be, Leaf is just absolutely monstrous. Munchkin still alive. Pit will remain, but for how much longer? Not at all!
You thought that Foxy9 had created the opening for GENG. He gets in, barrels over Valen, a pit down on the side. And yet Leaf, constant thorn in the side, rips away all of the weaponry and charges through like a bull in a china shop. They are trying to rewrite the narrative today and get back to when people were putting not just respect but fear on the G2 name.
Yeah, a team that you do not want to run into at any stage of the tournament.
Karen's come into this round with just a ghost. They're half buying even though 4 of them have weapons. That's weird.
It is weird. They have money still. It's an odd situation to be in. Could buy for the next round potentially. But they're just struggling to deal with the setup defensively. Munchkin though, that's a critical kill.
What a shot.
The drone even spotting it off into the corner. Leaf will have to get the hell out of there. Munchkin walking around. Even Trent himself just, no, util used to clear that one. This is a game of timings that Munchkin has won out finally.
The spike drop, though. The spike dropped in window.
What is occurring there?
Ash in a really exposed position, and that's going to slow everything down, but I don't think G2 are going to have the timing to be able to get back into A before the plant comes down. No. Problem is, Leaf's just really far back.
4v3. Just walking straight into it. That operator has exchanged hands, and this time, G2 feeling the ire of it. Texture, it's no slouch.
He almost missed the timing, but hits the quick scope.
He's in though. Past this one. A lot of angles to account for though. He needs some backing from Leaf, and they call for the 3-2-1 swing. Good movement from Karen. Almost went wrong for them. But he offset the aim of Jonah P. Leaf's just going to tuck himself in. We've seen him win a clutch from this spot before, but it very much different circumstances against GENG situation with the spike ticking in the way that it is. Yeah, he has to give this one up finally. GENG going to be happy with this one, and finally the IGL of Munchkin getting value on his lurks.
Yeah, mostly just set up because he hit a blinder of a shot onto Jorgamo, and to be fair, Jorg does miss, even though that's the exact fight that Jorg was looking for. So, you know, crosshair placement's not perfect. He's on a bit of an open spot here. But he misses one operator shot, and that's the only opening that Munchkin needs. Trent hoping that Munchkin wasn't taking the fastest timing in the world. And Josh RT, by the look of it, expects perfection, because despite the fact that GENG still look like they're struggling to get into this game, G2 have taken attack time out here. Yeah. Already looking to make changes and mix things up with 3 rounds left to play in this half.
You can feel how important those last remaining rounds really are. GENG just trailing ever so slightly, but respect on their name. They can catch up. They can put up the numbers, and they can put you all the way down to that 3rd map. That's what they're hoping for here, and that's why, as you said, Josh RT calling that timeout, hitting the button.
And I think one of the things he might be mentioning here is that Munchkin is conditioned to play quite slowly on the lurk. Now, I did just say that he took a fast timing, but that was after he'd already killed Jorg. Yeah. Right? At the beginning of the rounds, he's going to be playing fairly passively in A lobby, because he's respecting the fact that Jorg could be there with a shorty, Trent could be throwing prowlers and stuff like that. So G2 might not have to worry so much about A at the very beginning of the rounds, and they're actually swapping Leaf over to defend that. So it will be a more passive setup on the A side. Josh calling a pretty big pivot, and there is potential for that same Flash Haunt kind of set play, because GENG taking a bit of garage control early.
Yeah, just trying to force out where the util was. And we know that Leaf has set up shop in a different place.
Already, though, that Prowler is going to tell them that something's different. Yeah. If Trent is over on garage, where is the Vice? And also, who's defending A? These are the kind of questions that Munchkin's going to be thinking.
Karen's position holding anti-flash just in case G2 go for that fast play. The Haunt and the Flash, of course, the Haunt used prior. Sees as the drone is going to be clearing most of the way. That's a tag through the smoke. Got to respect that. Trent's got to back away. Could get wallbanged.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I'm wondering if they're going to lead with Foxy9's ultimate, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like they're going to pop.
If they're going to be, they're going to be troubled. I think Jorgamo is tucked close to the corner. Nice and tight. Great trade by Ash.
They still have
the opening in the entry.
They still have Foxy9's ult.
You should run.
There it is. Lockdown going to be used. After the fact here, G2. Do you take this one fast, or do you wait this one out?
You got to wait it out. You got to respect it.
On the clock. Yeah, Leaf's taking pot shots, hoping that he can potentially get a kill or two.
Oh, Valen using his ult to dodge it. Is he going to cancel that one? Oh, he got detained.
Detained. Maybe
that's
missed the timing on it.
Yeah, he missed the timing on that one quite badly.
And through the back, though, they knew that position was accounted for, so Karon's going to be taken out. Still a 3v3 G2. Making a move on now. Time's ticking. So is the Spike TP up towards our top, trying to offset this one. Great movement. Foxy9 still alive, playing his life. Dart towards the side. Ash tries to avoid capture. It's a gun that needs to be picked up, but he realizes it now. Trent, not enough time to work with it. GENG, they bring it level.
Great recovery in this half from GENG. Looked like they were down and out at one point after they got a good start on the pistol. But a couple of these rounds, the set plays, garage control into the B exec has been working. That's been the thing that's been getting them the most of these rounds. And it allows them to play these offsite post plants that are pretty drilled. Munchkin sat all the way back. Player in Cubby. Ash deserves credit in that round as well for hitting some really important shots, including the trade onto Jorg. And G2, their economy is finally shot.
GENG roaring in those replays. You can see how much this meant for them. Jorgamo. Walkabouts through mid. Alarm not going to be broken. It's going to be signaling that there is that deep push going. And what's the reaction from GENG? They want to go fast. They're going to be contending with all that Vice util. Well, not anymore. Leaf's gone. All going to be quite useless onto the side here. Another timing to be taken by Jorgamo. He's inside the smoke, and he might be inside their heads. Going forward, trying to reset that one. It's a flood attempt, G2. Already in through the back and clearing out the site.
Spike down A.
They're just ridiculous on these eco rounds. Jorg pulled all of the pressure towards him, and Foxy9's got it all to do.
That rifle still snaps towards it, has the angles, finds the kills. Into the 1v1, Jonah P doesn't know where he is. Tap, trying to bring him out into the open. But the timing miss once more.
So snappy from Foxy9, he almost managed it. But G2 close things out in their 3v1 and win the MasterCard Thrifty. They're just... The play from Jorg is absolutely perfect, just to pull eyes. Look at that, that's a free kill for Valen as he runs back in onto Munchkin, who's spamming back into the smoke. The flood is perfectly timed off that anchor pressure from Jorg. And he's got his head in his hands, he knows he should have been able to win that one. Could have been GENG taking the lead back.
A lot of spam, a lot of pressure. GENG trying to clear. Bit of garage control. The setup has adjusted once more for G2, but it's the final round, this first half.
And broadly speaking, I mean, GENG have been getting their success from garage pressure into B-pops. So I'm wondering whether G2 are actually ready for that. I mean, the Vice wall has changed. We now have a Vice wall over towards the front of B. And GENG haven't really been threatening front B and trying to bait that out. It's a tough one, because you need to be smoking both sides before you bait it.
Down to the minute mark. Drone re-clearance. If they're tracking the money, they're going to know that Jorgamo has that operator available if he chooses to invest into it, which he has. He's got control of C long. Trent gets acknowledgement from the Prowler.
10 seconds until a haunt as well.
Pressure in through garage. That's a kill onto Leaf, and that might just change the game plan entirely. They were looking to go in a different direction. Jorgamo
What a shot.
gives them second thoughts.
30 seconds left.
Pins Munchkin to the wall with that one. They still want to go forwards, and now moving into B. There's 25 seconds left into this round.
But no Vice wall.
Moving forwards now. The stun onto the left side. Holding your ground down, Jonah P! Wrangles controlling the rifle. And the dreams and hopes of GENG are scattered to the wind here. Playing with them.
Jorg finishes it off, and a beautiful opener, but the 3 kills in the middle from the hometown hero, who's at the top of the scoreboard for G2. And Valen has inspired this team to feel like they are accessing that underdog mentality again. It's a slim lead at the half for G2, but the game plans have all been working well.
One enemy remaining. 10 seconds left.
I don't really like committing to things. I'm scared. But when Verizon announced that I could lock in a low price for 3 years, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me now?
we are, GENG are the ones staring down the barrel of defeat. And all the pressure on the shoulders of Munchkin as an IGL to try and come up with the goods, a pistol round idea, a strategy to make it potentially even, to just hold on, I think, to their hopes of making a difference. The Coinbase econ report, you can see the numbers relatively even as things go, but this is a game that is tenuous here. G2 are in the driving seat. GENG, the ones that need to put up or shut up and go home.
They were the team that said they would win 2-0 today. I mean, some of that's bluff and bluster, obviously. I mean, they're down to talk some smack, but also that was what happened the last time these two teams faced. Despite the fact that G2, maybe you could have argued, were favored at Shanghai. Here, I think a pretty even game, and yet it's GENG potentially on the chopping block. And the fashion in which they lost in the upper bracket, legendary. Yeah. Up 9-3 on the first map, up 8-4 at the half on the second map. And I wonder if that's done something to rattle them a little bit. Because we haven't seen the same passion, maybe a bit of whimsy from GENG.
No.
It's looked tense, it's looked difficult for them.
Yeah, not the same smiles.
And they've never really gotten into a flow. Every half, even this one, that was fairly competitive, was stop and start.
Well, it needs to be a better beginning, GENG. They've been almost a statistical anomaly with the amount of pistol rounds they've been winning overall. They'd love to keep that one going here.
They got the first on Haven, and they're walking down mid now.
They're going to meet it. It's a clash of the players, and the bloodbath is called for here with a paranoid sweeping forwards. Trent snaps forwards and up! Munchkin! The bullet's the entire clip emptied out and damaged them. Finally a kill claimed. It's 3 for him.
But look at Jonah P. Again, he's managed to work his way through. There's no way he's expected.
Back, and the damage done. His players are weakened. Caron snaps 180. Keeps the hopes up and keeps the dream alive of a pistol round win. The timing. Trent out to the smoke, and it's a guessing game for where this last player could be here. Looking for it, and he's just missed it. Ash and Caron combine their might towards the end here. A pistol round win. Another one added into the tally, and they want to keep this momentum forward now. They want to keep it going.
Massively important pistol here for GENG. And the question is, do G2 force? They didn't get a spike plant. They got quite a lot of kills. These are the kind of spots where normally we are seeing G2 start to force here at Masters Toronto. That 3K from Munchkin is everything. Just when we were talking about how he needs to be playing an immaculate game. Now, you guys didn't see it at home, but G2 were thinking about forcing. Some of them bought Stingers, then sold them again. And the end result is it's only Jorg with one in his hand.
A mistake or not too sure.
I don't think it is either. I think he did it very late. I think that was part of the game plan.
Wall in your face makes this a difficult angle, yet okay, you can take the pot shots. Shooting fish in a barrel. There's only a few angles they can be playing from. Caron is rewarded. The drone's going to be spotting a lot of bodies there. Moving forwards, taking that A space.
G2 themselves are going to be trying to make great use out of the Viper wall, applying pressure to the A defense. GENG are super happy to be playing these Viper v Viper situations, so I think when GENG are on the defense side.
Util overhead. You're going to hear this one with the TP forwards, and they're taking a peek. It's a fake and a bait, yet still Texture has that composure. Shuts down 2 of the players. Waiting for it. Leaf is answered. Drop dead in his sights. Caron has got a full lock now onto the side, and Ash gets the follow-up here. Flawless for them. Everybody surviving. Yeah, the roar from the GENG players. You can hear it from here.
Yeah, massive amounts of weaponry saved. Even, I think, 3 people not even having to rebuy the armor. So, an exceptionally clean round. G2, remember that one of the players, Jorgamo, did actually force into this. So they're going to be coming into the next round, an anti-bonus with 2 Stingers and 3 rifles.
It's a weird one.
It's a very strange one for G2.
GENG starting to smile a little bit more, getting the whimsy back. Handshake with the util.
And once more, as soon as Texture's able to get an op online, the things he's been doing with Neon op is unbelievable.
It's disgusting.
His movement's spectacular.
One of the most active players we've got.
So G2 need to be putting up these rounds early before Texture gets that weapon.
Munchkin a lot of trust in his aim here. He's crouched out into the open. He could be overwhelmed at a moment's notice. He's got no backup. Here's the smoke zone. He gives him the timing, layers down that snake bite. Use pound for pound, slightest of angles, and he will need to respect that now. Bullets flying forwards, breaking a portion of it. High ground, Caron.
Good awareness from Leaf.
And he's knocked. Forwards though, Horn needs to be broken. Kills. Potential for it with the Bulldog though, it's not the weapon of choice. The still a blood attempt is called for. GENG trying to get themselves in there with bodies. And more Ash! Second guesses it, finally catches onto it.
Trent.
Spike planted.
Flash into the corner, what a shot down from Ash! He's brought them a win con, he's brought them a chance here. And it brought them into the 2v2, the drone just spotting it. Tight to the corner, Leaf will have to reposition. Close together now, Texture, Ash move together as a unit, as one. Ash cannot do it all.
Leaf collects and G2 go up, but it cost them a lot. That's a pretty successful bonus round from GENG. Think about the fact that they brought only 2 stingers into that round, G2. I mean, 2 stingers and 3 rifles, of course. They're gonna have a pretty similar buy again. Some wonky moments in this round. Great shock dart though onto Trent, who was extremely weak.
One enemy remaining. Last player standing.
This is the round where if GENG can win it, they might be able to think about getting the operator back up. And of course, G2's economy would be shot.
Yeah, the money's still not corrected properly here for G2.
And this is all before you even get the ults online.
Dart's going to be avoided. Texture is still deep tucked onto A long.
And they're not really worried about short because Foxy9's popped his alarm bot down there.
Prowler missed. G2 are grouping up though. Texture. This is time in the sun there, but shut down.
There.
Jogamo removes him. Alarm bot broken, and now with the util sailing up and overhead, it's all going to be on Foxy9. Feels like a hit. And it will be a hit. Foxy9, how the hell do you overcome all of this one here? Still TP forwards, no trade there eventually. Gonna be, it's labored in the process, but a horns in the beak is picture perfect from Trent.
That's an amazing play from Trent on his own. G2 have managed to get themselves in onto the site. I don't see a way back in for GENG.
2v4 Ash, he's alone doing this. Munchkin, other end of the map. Just gonna make a go. Anticipating.
What a freebie.
In a trade, yeah, it is a free kill. There was no trade or swing from G2. Ash was almost ready for it, but this is just going to be...
I mean, Munchkin has no interest in even taking part in this.
He wasn't playing it at all.
No, he's just playing for the economy here. This was a really pivotal round. If GENG had been able to win it, you're expecting that they start to get the economy really snowballing. And Texture could have got that up. Now, though, with G2 coming away with a victory, they stabilize the attacking economy. No more stingers for them. And GENG, it's the Korean team that's going to be going towards the bargain buy. Very back and forth.
Still missed. 2-round lead. Steady for G2. The emphasis still placed on GENG, I think, to come up with a response to stay alive in this tournament. It's elimination. And a loss here means a 5th, 6th exit out of the tournament. Not what they were hoping for. Not what they were wishing when everybody was singing their praises earlier on in the tournament.
I mean, they looked utterly dominant early on. And part of the reason was Texture. He's only got a Sheriff now, looking to try to defend C.
Bit of posturing from G2. They don't see too many signs of life, but walking up here. God, and that's just a Sheriff diff.
God, what a shot. No, they both had rifles there.
Yeah.
That was a
rifle.
A 140
with a Phantom.
With aim punch, and Jorgamo somehow managed to land the headshot still. On a crazy off angle too. I mean,
ridiculous adjustment.
Munchkin is really favored there. It's a weird angle.
Cover going out. Rifle reclaimed at least.
Could be a blessing in disguise as well, yeah, because Texture actually gets the rifle into his hands, and if anybody's going to carry them through this defense half, it's Texture who's been one of the front runners at this tournament for MVP. But crashing out in 5th or 6th didn't look like it was on the cards for GENG. They're only 4 rounds away from that being a reality, though. Texture has got to rewrite history.
And all the pressure falling onto his shoulders here. Dodging the flash, Nightfall though. He's going to have everything cut away. Got to rely on the raw aim. Got to rely on the mechanics. It's just the one. Foxy9 inserted, sees them, but just misses them with a crosshair placement. G2 are overwhelming. It's an onslaught that they deliver onto the site. With the money in the state that it is, Ash can't even attempt it.
Texture getting one. I think Foxy9 should be doing slightly better from that position, but he really did only have the Sheriff. G2 going up to a comfortable lead here. And it's GENG's economy that, again, is going to be on the rocks. And more importantly, perhaps than even that, the ultimates are going to start to snowball.
Yeah.
Jorgamo, he can play for an ult orb in the next round, and then you've got one of the best attacking ults to try to take space, take information, increase tempo. GENG are going to find it hard-pressed to deal with that, especially if it's used over towards C, like through Garage, for example. Scout out what the Garage defense looks like, find out where the C player is, hit them with a paranoia. These kind of combos are just so powerful.
It's heartbreaking right now for GENG. His rounds are just, feels like they're just bleeding out slowly over time.
That's
plays like this, kills like this. I mean, it's an insane adjustment by Jorgamo.
It's a special shot, and the crouch is excellent too.
30 seconds left.
Texture is going to get his op online here, Brent.
Yeah, certainly is.
And he's going to look for a peek in this next round down towards short. That's exactly where all 5 players of G2 are.
Time to get active. You're losing the map and you're losing the series and you're losing your lifeline in this tournament. GENG. Got to put up a response here and now. G2 not shy, making all the noise in the world over towards A.
How is Texture actually getting an opportunity here? He got blocked off by the Thorns from the Vice.
Blocked off. He's hard committed now onto the one angle. Jorgamo cleared out. Thrown there. We'll respect it.
So this might allow Texture, if he's bold, to get back up onto the A-long angle. You don't know that it's clear, so he's tentative here. But once he gets posted, it's good information for GENG.
He's easing up. We'll have to worry about the Viper wall if it gets pushed up into his face. G2 we're going exploring now elsewhere. Through mid. Thorns into Garage. Feels like many things here, but the pressure's now on Munchkin once more. Smoke, it's a weird one.
I mean, it's to smoke off the alarm bot and threaten a B-lurk, but Munchkin looks at it and he's like, well, that's a fake, 100% of the time.
And back into Texture.
Here.
He's been in the MVP running and he's got to show it here. And now the shot just misses. Glides straight past. Valen's very lucky.
30 seconds left.
Result of it.
They're leaving, they're going back towards Garage.
Straight into it. Foxy9 now. His turn to be the playmaker, but he's going to be hearing potentially some signs of life. Calling for a TP all the way through. Valen's clearing close. Foxy9, he's missed the timing. He's trying to get close up forwards into them. He's catched it. Tries down by the ankle. Trades it out anyway to flood in. GENG trying to get a move on. Being shut down entirely. Door slapped in their face, but there's no time left. And they're going to collect these kills. Is there time to plant? Not quite. GENG got it.
That's absurd. Ashy wins the round, and Jonah even committed the ult.
Oh my goodness.
That's mad. I mean, we've got to see a replay of that, but I think that was literally milliseconds. I had no idea whether or not they were getting that plant down in time.
Holding my breath on that one. What was the timing on it? And like you said as well, Jonah P committing the pit.
They thought they had it. A Red Bull clutch, technically. Yeah, I mean,
yes,
a sliver.
Barely missed. Big loss here for G2, but a massive win for GENG. Only trailing by 2. Dimensional Drift committed, along with the TP. Spotting out Munchkin here. Things happening. Trying to follow up forwards here. This is Foxy9 playing once more inside that smoke, but he's vulnerable. Nana Swarm, there's a judge in his hands, and he still gets the better of it. Picks up the gun, and evacuation called for G2.
The whole game plan there was just to try to spam off Jorgamo's information. Munchkin, he took a ton of damage, but now they're going back into
Charon, hard committed. Repositions Paranoia with a jump spot. Not to be outdone.
Feels rushed at this point from G2, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit tilted, perhaps.
GENG making him work for every inch of space. Charon! He's monstrous right now. Doesn't want to be removed. He's a line of defense for this team, and as much as you want to bait those shots out, you're not getting squat.
The tiniest of margins, milliseconds on the clock in that prior round. Feels like it could have changed the game here. G2 went for something a little quick. didn't get the value out of Jorgamo's ultimate, and then a scrambling. And it does look a little bit sloppy. Like I said, maybe a little bit tilted. Josh RT's going to take a tactical timeout here. GENG looking like they believe again.
There's that passion. And G2 forced to take a timeout on the other side of it. As we've been mentioning,
the economy's
round
not
18,
good.
just the state of how that round ended, expending an ult. It's a tilter, you got to get your head back into the game. Now these are tenured players at this point for G2. We're used to thinking of them as like this Ascension team, quite young up there, but they have been around the block at this point. They've been to many a global show, many global events. They have the experience to be able to weather any kind of storm, especially situations like this, but you could say the same for GENG.
Yeah, the mental fortitude, I think, really coming through for GENG. Josh scanning the notes. There's ult plays that they could potentially be looking towards, but it's only the Vice ult that they have. The others are a long way away from coming online. So for quite a while now, it's going to be GENG who have the economy advantage, both in terms of weaponry and ults. It's going to require something special for G2. But GENG do love a scrap. And if you end up getting caught by these stingers, G2 can be a very tough team. If they spot a weakness, they will swarm. And right now, eyes look set on either Garage or B. It's a bait and switch defense in Garage.
Texture lying in wait.
And Foxy9 there to bail him out.
Double scoped up. Could get overwhelmed. Swarmed. Prowler to connect. Has to really get the hell out of there. The corner was cleared here. Seeing the rotation immediately there from G2. They want to try and make moves. Munchkin is immediately there with a snake bite. That's a smoke TP play. Valen, he's in. Straight into the fray, but he's alone at the case, and he's got to use a second TP just to get the hell out.
Yeah, they didn't like the look of that one. Didn't even break the alarm bot actually either. And now looking to try to go back into Garage. Foxy9 is very isolated here on C.
Want to clear forwards.
He's super confident here, Foxy. He's got the turret and himself playing contact.
It's easy to get overwhelmed, especially against those stingers. A bit of spam. G2 playing it patiently. They're waiting. 37 seconds though, it leaves you with limited options, and already the rotations are abound. GENG reinforcing up the C site.
But no pressure over towards A at all.
Exploring for Foxy9. Will he catch the kill? Yes, he will. Jorgamo's done. Finished off here. G2 going to try and get a move on now. Bodies potentially falling. It's running and gunning from Valen. He's just trying to claim any sort of space. Munchkin dominating. Reign Supreme onto the site. You're getting a mad dash and a scurry, but Ash is going to be waiting for you. The time's not even barely there. It's knives out for Jonah. And no chance now for G2. 10-10 for GENG here. They are pulling this back.
Even score line. With everything on the line for GENG. But I think there's a silver lining here for G2. And it's that Sova ult and Killjoy ult were both used in this round to stop an eco. You see here, the ult being fired out from Ash. Foxy9 also got rid of his. And so that ult economy advantage now negated.
New beginning here for round 21. Ash is too diligent there with breaking some of the util.
Tech's just getting a free walk down C because G2 are never breaking this Killjoy turret. And it sees down C long and into the Garage.
Taking full advantage of it. Just a wall to hold him back here. Drone timing. Saw it, I believe. Yeah, the corner towards bricks. Jonah P was spotted out there. GENG, I'm going to be budging. Pressure towards Garage though. G2 look for something here, and it's a spike into the hands of these players. A lot of damage. Still through the wall.
They still haven't broken the turret. They're still convinced that Foxy9's going to be fighting them aggressively somewhere, so they don't want to show. They used a huge amount of util just to get in.
Jonah P's aware of it. Look at him trying to jump spot, but it's an off angle by Texture.
It feels like Texture's the playmaker here.
Yeah, he's trying to play ahead of all of this one here, and he needs to get this kill onto Jonah P. Surely hearing the util now sailing up and overhead. Jonah P, he's finished. And here it is. Stun ricocheting back and forth, reinforcements here. They've arrived in time! But does Texture even need it? Caron delivering death blow after death blow. G2, 20 seconds to work with here. They call for the pause and the hesitation here. This discipline at work, G2. They spotted the last remaining player, Ash. He's left reeling, backing away. 15 seconds and it's time enough to get the plant.
10 seconds left.
Deep position and forward is Leaf. There was a chance there for Ash, but now down to just Texture. Spotting out the one. Was he expected? Damage done. Trent was low enough, and it's not planted.
It's a horrible plant.
Not planted for Leaf whatsoever.
Patience.
Patience. Leaf is not budging. He calls the bluff entirely. Another tap. Texture! With the movement, he still can't claim the kill. One more for good luck, but he needs to hunt down Leaf, and Leaf sees that it's not being stuck. He finds the timing again. Texture is being toyed with. Leaf has had it for breakfast.
What an unbelievably good clutch from Leaf. All with the brain. No need for the aim. Leaf knew that Texture was hunting those kills. There are certain players who are always going to be trying to fake and force a fight. And I think Leaf there just has an immaculate read. The fact he never even went for the first one. He just tucked towards B Cubby.
It's unreal game sense.
Completely confident. He looks so stupid if he's wrong as well. And yet, at 10 to 10, he is willing to take that risk. G2 though, despite winning the round, are actually going to be taking an eco here to make sure that they have the economy to close this map out.
G2
that's mad.
With Stingers, it is a crazy prospect. They're looking to move over towards A. Again, snake bite, thorns up and over. Just to deny the chance of any sort of reinforcements. Texture's there with a stun though, layers it all down. Looking to slow them down. Neutral is used, Munchkin even with a pit here. Texture, he's got the operator to work with here. G2 flooding in, fast and loose. It's risky business. Risky business sometimes pays off, but GENG finally getting bodies into the site. The defense intact. Jumping, peeking, trying to bait for one another. One left to stand, but Trent is toppled. 11 to 11, GENG. They're not done yet.
Huge rounds flying back and forth between these two titans. But G2 deliberately managed their economy in that previous round in order to invest in this one. Was it the right play? I think, listen, that's a tough one. That's a difficult argument. But the fact of the matter is that G2 went for a soft buy, allowing GENG, in all likelihood, to tie the game again so that they could win here. What is the game plan that Valen cooks up?
Texture. Flash in your face and a peek. That is disgusting work.
He's so fast.
It's rapid.
Trent as well, down to 30 health. Did he get legged in the middle of that too? Or
yeah, he was on top of the box. He did.
That's mad.
Damage through. G2 going to be limping through the rest of this round here, but GENG got to be smiles from how this has started. It's an explosion out now, out towards this B site. G2 want control of this one, but a snake bite at the feet makes it pretty hot and heavy to try and handle. Precarious at that, still sticking the plant down and now playing off site. Dangerous prospect. Munchkin is still alive, and he has that wall to deny them info. The G2 are still sticking 2 players onto the side. It's up to Valen and Jorgamo. Can they deliver any sort of kills inside the wall? It's a timing with the dart. It's a great tag. Jorgamo is gone. To the dust and to the mud with him. Valen has to be that next player in, but perfectly baited once more. And there's that wall, smoked up, facing it up. Every single player from GENG putting up the challenge. They found that 12th round.
Map point here for GENG. Winning 5 out of the last 6. Forcing G2's economy down, getting huge value out of the operator.
There it is.
And skewering those G2 players at the start. That is such impact from Texture early. 22 kills, by the way. I feel like he had a bit of a slow beginning as well, even on this map. As soon as you get him on the defense side, though, especially with an op in his hands, he's a monster, he's a nightmare.
And one more is all it takes for GENG to extend this play and stand a chance of staying here in Toronto.
Their economy's just been so much better this entire half. G2 constantly messing around with Stingers, Guardians, Bulldogs, not a single player with a proper rifle. And GENG have got the right read, 3 players defending A.
So much trust in aim for Foxy 9. AD gets stopped. He's out in the open there, but G2 moving over towards A. It's a Nightfall to set them up. Snakebite's going to be used reactively. Prowler's going to be broken, and Ash is trying to play tight tuck to the corner. A bit of spam just catching Jogamo into the leg. He's able to get himself out of there. The weaponry, just a touch on even that. G2 are working with scraps here to try and bring this to OT. GENG more than in the driving seat. Taking a fight forwards, and there's that stinger. Can't hold a candle, not against the rifle in the hands of Kieron.
And this looks scrambled from G2. They can't exactly figure out where they want to go. They're threatening like it could be a C split and looking for the B pop. All on Munchkin, no Snakebite.
All in your face inside the smoke. He wants to dominate this angle nice and early. It's going to be dropping down, faced with Multitude. It's evened out and traded out, but still that player advantage is there.
He legged
Texture, legged it, damage done, but he's out to the side and he's looking all over the bloody place. He needs help and he needs a bailout. Foxy 9 just can't wrangle it. Leaves it to Leaf though in a 1v2, and GENG. This is it, the impetus, the moment, the turning point. It's theirs, and well bloody earned.
The mental fortitude, the tenacity and grit from GENG to be able to still believe and keep their hopes alive here in Toronto. That's an incredible map. Back and forth and ground out. A 13-11 victory to force us into map 3.
It's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in, when the tide comes in. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. It's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in, when the tide comes in. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when.
And you already know we had to come out here with the people because, folks, we're going to map 3! Just witnessed 13-11 scoreline. GENG picks up the dub. G2 scrambling to figure out what they're going to do as we get ready for map 3. Here, of course, Golden Boy alongside Kukuka and Mimi. We want to break it down for y'all with the people because we love you all so much. Thank you, Toronto, for your energy. Let's talk about this game here, guys. What did my eyes just witness? Because my heart can't take it.
Yeah, definitely. GENG bringing it back. We saw a G2 with very clear ideas on how to play this map, but the Viper versus Viper sometimes ends up in this spot where timings are extremely crucial, extremely important, and there were so many things working sometimes in favor of GENG. We had the pistol rounds, that crazy defuse.
And I want to talk about the first half, because G2 came in with a really good read. The casters are talking about it. Munchkin's whole idea on this map is solo lurking A off of this Viper wall. You see here, he's walked all the way up long, but G2 are going to send in a re-clear play and be able to punish him there with Jojimo going through short. GENG, though, after losing him there a couple times, make an adaptation and instead start showing this look where they're defaulting into garage basically every round. Well, G2 is still putting most of their forces into heavy fighting for A. With that, they managed to get themselves into B post plants 2 rounds in a row, and that's what turned this game back into their control. They won a couple more rounds on attack and then had an incredible second half to win this out.
And we had very numerous rounds, very in the G2 style of one leaf clutching rounds. GENG with a texture that is extremely scary and needs to be avoided wherever he is in the map. Many things, again, keeping these match up close. When we look at the number, yes, texture was up there, but as Mimi, as you were saying, in the first half, Jogimo was that man for G2.
Yeah, Jaw was so good. Again, going back onto the Yoru here, but second half was a bit of a different story there. He was dying first on a lot of these entries. GENG had great ideas on how to punish it. And again, Bea, it's one of these maps where they're showing this Viper comp and how strong it is, especially on these flood retakes with that wall up.
Yeah, and we're speaking about things that are keeping this close. GENG, we know that throughout the tournament, they've been very good at pistols. Getting two in this map was crucial because the rifle rounds for G2 were looking pretty good right from the get-go. But GENG, with this stress that they have for every single one of the matches, they come prepared with new ideas, but still the same kind of effectiveness.
Yeah, it was just incredible to see how GENG were adapting on the fly, but also, I mean, this really was a heavyweight slugfest here, right? We were seeing guys take left hooks, right hooks, uppercuts all over the place.
Look at Munchkin here.
I mean, this is exactly what you want to see, and this is exactly how much it means to these two teams to be able to fight and get to that top 4, because that's what they're fighting for, Mimi. They're fighting for top 4, not even at the grand finals, and this is a final caliber matchup.
Absolutely. The last time we had this matchup, it was for the upper finals, and in games this good, it comes down to inches, and there was one round that exemplified that. That plant not getting off for G2. Very well.
That would have been the overtime.
Yes, that would have been them going to OT, maybe winning this map. Maybe this is a 2-0, and GENG's on a plane to Korea.
Yeah, you just hate to see it. I mean, honestly, there's no other way to shake it. I mean, everything that you could possibly want to.
You hate to see it, but apparently you're going to see it again, Alex.
Well, yeah, it's true. We got to relive it one more time here. And just as you think they have the time, you can see Lee's face. He's wondering if he's got it.
And the heartbreak of this round is Jonah ults. He thinks they get the plant down in time. They don't have that ult for the next round as well. Then they have the Yoru ult. They think they can do another C-pop. Jaw dies out of the ult after nearly spamming Munchkin down to 0. And this game slips out of G2's grasp. I mean, what tenacity for GENG, winning such close rounds, showing such big clutch moments. This is why it's a trophy-winning team that has done it before back in Masters Shanghai.
Yeah, and well, guys, I mean, there's a big problem here as well for G2.
Which one?
Well, here's the issue. There's only one Canadian left in this competition.
I see a lot of Canadians here.
In the competition, we got a lot of great Canadians in the house today, but we got one Canadian left in this one. This is Jonah P. Can he hold it down? Can he hold the fort for the North? Mimi, it's a tall task for this G2 team after GENG comes back the way they did.
It absolutely is. Jonah's been having a great series, and Toronto, I know you want to see this guy continuing on the competition. They're walking back on the stage. If you want him to survive, make some noise.
That's right.
But the GENG fans are here too, GB.
Oh yeah, the GENG fans are here in full effect. If you guys want GENG to be able to take this one, what do you think about that? Oh boy, all right.
It's pretty evened out, even though
Folks,
you know we're in America.
we're getting down to the wire. I know, right? Down the line. Let's take a look at the last map and where we're going to be taking a trip to next, because we're going to be going to Icebox here. And we've seen some adjustments. We've seen our players take to some new challenges on this map here. Kukuka, what should we be expecting?
Obviously, maybe G2 swapping again the compositions like they did in the first map? I don't think so. I think that the Sage looked very, very well, extremely strong on their retakes. And for the side of GENG, yes, they got a victory, and it's a very plain going back to a few years ago kind of compositions that we're going to be seeing, or at least expecting to see.
For sure. I was very impressed with G2's pivot into the Sage composition. It does so much to actually get that spike down easily on the attacking side. Their retakes looked on point too. And on top of that, Jaw still has a shocking amount of agency on Sage. He's still making those plays, but by all means, this is a great map for both of these teams. It should be an incredibly close way to close this one out.
You see the players loading in, getting ready to go. And this is exactly the moment that these two teams were constructed for here, to be able to push through some of the toughest competition available here on the global stage. You got GENG on one side looking to see if they could very well move forward in this competition, hold the fort for Pacific. Meanwhile, for G2 Esports, still looking for a trophy. And let's see what we got from the agent select here, Mimi.
I'm again looking at these rookie players from GENG. Ash coming in just this season. Karon and Foxy, they've been at Globals before, but Foxy's still trying to prove himself, trying to win a trophy himself. This is going to be a really high-pressure moment for them all, but for G2 as well.
Yeah, double controller versus double controller. I'm looking at Karon. He's had very, very good individual moments, but of course, the most important part, Valin and Munchkin. We've heard the words from Valin, making sure that they knew the pressure was on GENG. Well, they're about to come back from a very, very good map and a very good start of the series for G2.
All right, Toronto, we're going to a map 3. Let me hear you! Come on, let's send it over to your casters. Make some noise as we get ready for map 3.
The energy is sky high right now here. It's map 3, this decider of G2 versus GENG. Elimination, of course, on the line. I'm telling you that story all day long. What we haven't been telling you, though, is G2 and their dreams being dashed away. Potentially here to look towards Icebox. A team that's been hunting for redemption, to be honest. Trying to battle back, I think. They've got their top dog spot regionally. Everybody knows this. But the one thing they haven't got is that trophy on the biggest stages of the game.
In Bangkok, denied by T1. Potential here to be denied again by another Pacific team. G2 have been in control of this match from the beginning, but now they're up against the ropes as well on Icebox. It's anybody's game.
Pressure just flips that easily. It's all it takes, and GENG have been putting up the work and the mechanics.
You're expecting G2 to be playing a retake style here on Icebox on the pistol round because Jorgamo's wall is so powerful. GENG, they're gonna know that.
Full committal. Ash going for this one, the shock darts. Not doing much.
So it's about escorting Jorgamo in. He's the VIP. Get the wall down and apply pressure with the defuse.
Seen it. Paranoia is going to sweep forwards here, but a high ground angle is unaccounted for. And Texture trying to lock down and hold down that sightline angle as the dart the back and inside the smoke. Obfuscated enough to pick that player out of the picture. Karon is no more, but Texture next to step up. Holding his ground down. Here's the jump down. There's G2 just trying to play these players in. Heavy-handed swings, Textures making the most of it. Jorgamo with the wall. There needs to be that follow-up up and over towards the top, though, accounting for it. No half-earned time ticking away. Leaf is going to get a move on, and it's all GENG. Another pistol round. Add it to the tally, add it to the spreadsheet, call it whatever you want, but that is once more carrying forward that energy from that prior map.
And there were so many small things that had to work for GENG to be able to win on Haven. And I think the pistol rounds are absolutely an enormous part of that, winning both pistols. And like you've been talking about the whole day, Brent, the fact that they've been doing it consistently all tournament long. Like 75% win rate on their pistols or something at this point. It's crazy, and we haven't really been seeing G2 force against it. They've been opting to play it pretty conservative today. And the most we saw was like Jorgamo picking up one stinger.
Yeah.
Here, pretty much full classics for G2.
Right here.
Allowing GENG to build up the ult cycle.
Just so pivotal on a map like Icebox. Paranoia, hold on, that's missed a slight gap and a window. Dashing back though to safety.
Pretty nice movement from Texture.
Definitely his team having his back. He gets out of dodge.
That's going to start Foxy9 and Munchkin moving forwards over towards A. You know that G2, roughly speaking, are going to be fighting over one area of the map and playing a retake on the other. This time, though, on the eco, they're trying to get into flood defend before GENG are here.
Just popping out.
Placing swarm grenade.
Shoulder sticking out of the smoke. Shock dart. Hello, Foxy9. Down and out here. Ash going to go for an attempt to stick this. Reclaiming the gun too. Texture's going to be picking that one up. He's swapping it around. We see it now, Dart lay it down, but players are starting to get themselves in. Classics in hand, and that's just it to work with, but G2 done more with less somehow. We see them now just trying to get a move on, fighting into this one, but entrenched positions into the 1v2 for Trent, and he's just left guessing where this player could be. Hold on, it's a 1v1, him versus Ash! Can't connect, can't lock onto it.
And Ash, the rookie, the newbie, coming up massive for GENG here on Icebox. These first 2 rounds delivering the critical kills. He's one away from getting a Hunter's Fury as well, which could be a decisive factor in a bonus round like this. G2, they made that one expensive. So GENG are going to be coming in with mostly stingers. But if they can get Ash's ult online, there could be a chance here.
Looking towards Leaf. He always invests into the Outlaw when he's tracking their money. He's the one with the Outlaw, no sight lines, no easy kills, instead just a battle for the extremities.
You see there, GENG's game plan of taking some A control behind that Viper wall, and G2 were spamming it, seeing if they could land some early damage. Foxy ducks, manages to make it through. That's the orb, that's the ult. So Ash, 5-0, has a very, very early Hunter's Fury to play around with. And if they are, G2, playing retake on A, that could potentially allow for a very effective post-plant setup.
Slow going for now, but you are right. There's that danger lurking right now for G2.
Double nano swarms, double shock darts, Sova ultimate.
Trying to play retake into this would be
tough.
Pretty tough.
Not impossible, but difficult.
There's a Paranoia. Different sections going to be dividing up towards the site. Now Hunter's Fury is going to be used just to get them in. It's 2 misses. Clearance into the corner on top of it. G just choosing to expend it. Plan down just yet, and watching for the peak up top. Munchkin's head rolls off the shoulders there.
Leaf fast on the flank. It would be only Texture capable of taking a shot.
The Stingers, GENG, are forced to opt into the site. They have to hold this one. Close quarters is the combat. That's what's going to be suited towards them. Lidding up these players, though. Texture can't stand up against that much. Still the pressure's there with the Outlaw in hand. He's got it straight into the back of Ash. Caron, not long for the world, is he?
So very clean, and not really finding the value that they were looking for from that Hunter's Fury. I think GENG got a bit scared there. They weren't really willing to take the risk on whether or not G2 were playing retake. And G2 threw out a little bit of utility early, some shock darts, a slow orb that made it feel like they might have been playing on site in anchoring positions. Munchkin, though, the deeper this goes through the attack half, will be one of those IGLs that's willing to call the contact plays if he figures out that Valent's playing really soft on one side of the site.
Alarm bot out. Toxins going up.
2 Guardians, 3 Guardians actually, again for GENG, so bit of a wonky buy.
Slow up towards the top, breaking the drone. It's a wonky buy, isn't it?
The fact, though, that Munchkin broke the drone there kind of scared off this push from G2. If it was only Foxy9 on his own, I think they might have tried to force the fight there, looking to just try to catch that solo player from GENG, but he had backup. GENG playing a spread default at the moment, but the Spike in a somewhat committed position on B.
Very slow game, contact, swing. Potentially, if there was a player holding close. Texture just crossing out into the open. There's a re-swing from Caron, an attempt to punish as that spam was coming through from Jonah P.
He believed in the Viper wall.
Got to wait for the next timing on it. Got to wait for the fuel to get back up. Keron's going to be jumping the gun a little bit here.
Trent
has him through the back, Paranoia.
Trent's got his ult to try to deny plant.
Jonah P is going to be giving them that space. GENG absorbing most of it. Hunter's Fury to try and deny the texture. Is up towards the top there. In through the rafters and a kill found and claimed. Foxy9 takes care of his adversary. Leaf is gone. You get into that post plant successfully. Texture a little bit worse for the wear.
Foxy9, he was on the lurk. Valen's got to be worried about that, but he's now, Foxy9, connecting with the rest of his team to play these double nanoswarms onto the plant. And G2, I don't think they have a chance of being able to get back in on this. They're not even going for it.
Backing away.
They just want to keep their economy good. And I mean, to be honest, it's only Valen who wouldn't be able to buy if they went for this. I think the damage to GENG's economy is more important.
Well.
But G2 choosing the conservative approach. And one could argue that that was the reason that they couldn't close out Haven. They were taking eco rounds after winning in one fateful example at the end there towards Haven. Another spot where I think I would argue G2 should be fighting it. GENG get an opportunity to upgrade. They were bringing, what did I say, 3 Guardians into that round? And now they've managed to get up to 4 rifles.
A 3-1 lead.
It's a great start. And it's one of the only times where it feels like GENG have got out to a good start. They won the pistol on Haven, but they couldn't manage much more in that first quarter.
Bit of spam with the stray bullets, not collecting a kill, but Texture's going to be battered because of it. Leaf trying to keep an eye on all the positions here. Again, you're going to see this game of timings occurring. Texture lying in wait, hoping that someone's going to go for the reclear.
And they are, but with the drone. So this drone can go down mid and then tuck back up under tube. Good break there from Munchkin. Keeps Texture, or at least the threat of Texture.
They played him in well. Getting the info though. Texture. Got anything to get the hell out of here? There's a lot of damage. There's those shockies.
Oh, that is so nice.
Putting in the work.
And now GENG probably have to accelerate on A.
Contact for now though. Slow going.
Like I talked about, Munchkin is super happy calling for his team to contact in if he thinks he's got the read that the defenders are playing retake.
G2 just hovering nearby, lying in wait here. The plant's going to be going off. Munchkin gets this one down, so into the post plant we go. GENG still with that player disadvantage. They're the ones who have to make the play. Valen, Paranoia, sweeps forwards, Nana Swarms, delaying the push from coming through from G2, but did they expect this one? Valen's already in, and he might have just spotted it. I think Ping's yet. Spam up towards the top of it, in through 410, and Foxy9 is gone. Straight back to the dust here, Gengino! And through back with a few of their own. Keron finally taken out, but backing away. Leaf earns up towards the ult, but he's got 2 players to deal with, and you do not want to expend it in this situation. He's got to try and lurk and find the positions, running side to side. He doesn't know where the last is. There's a wall, isolates the fight, but is there time?
Not a chance. Really nicely played there from GENG towards the end. Munchkin with a wide swing from 410. Forces Leaf to take the fight. Wastes a couple of bullets. But I think it's Karen who really deserves most of the credit for the victory here. It's a beautiful reclear of Texture. And they're winning this 4v5. But Karen with 2 kills from that top 410 position. Spots Valen, recon dart, lights up Jorgamo, and they're coming away with the victory. GENG look completely in control here. You know, Lotus, G2 were easily the better team. On Haven, very even, incredibly even. G2 had their chances to win 2-0. It would be gutting for G2 to be the better team out of the first 2 maps and then throw it all away towards the end. They wanted to come in here today, and you heard it from Valen's mouth himself, they wanted to change the narrative. They wanted to put on a performance that would make the other teams scared to face them. And now, a little bit of doubt might start creeping in at the edges.
That's what a timeout is for here, to call Josh RT, give them a bit of a boost, maybe morale, maybe an idea, something to get some rounds in order, because GENG, for now, only leading by 3, 4-1 being that total scoreline, but it can easily slip away from you. Easily. They know it. GENG know it.
Both teams, both rosters have been in big game scenarios, at least the cores of these rosters.
And honestly, Josh, as well, what a difference exiting out here will make. When we talk about these big events, the international ones, we talk about teams, did they make top 4? Did they make it to the finals? You're not really thinking about 5 to 6.
No, not so much. Not so much. Especially teams that have G2's level of expectation.
Yeah.
Placing swarm grenade.
There'll be a blight on the record for G2 if they go out here. They've got to turn it around. The money's not good for now. Allows you to play a bit riskier. Taking liberties, potentially getting a kill or two. GENG are hyper-disciplined though.
Pulled a little bit of Foxy9's attention towards mid, and I wondered whether Leaf was going to go for the peak, but it's just a shocking fight to take with a stinger from this range.
Truly.
And a lot of the impetus here might be on Jonah P, actually. He's the lone defender over on B.
Starburst on his face, and he's going to be stepping up to the challenge. Not postured away. Maintains his ground here. GENG going to have something to clear this one. Might just be waiting for the dart timing to come back up. Wall to feign like they could be going over towards A, and there's that exploration, but Ash one step ahead. Smoke just barely blooming out towards the back there, claiming these kills, racking them up. The feed that is filled up with red.
Spike planted.
GENG determined to put their stamp on this final map. It's a map that they've been excellent at historically. We've seen great moments from them. And right now they are dealing with this style from G2. Munchkin's finding the right reads at the right time to be able to get in. And also, Texture is online right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that just hasn't really been the case in the previous 2 maps, especially on Lotus, where he was 2 and 10 or something to begin. Haven, it took him till the second half where he really accelerated and took off like a rocket. But here, he's 6 and 4 to begin, and he looks good, comfortable on the entries, taking these fights, stepping up aggressively to danger. G2's retake style is going to be helped by the fact that Leaf has earned the lockdown. He's had it in the last couple of rounds, but not found an opportunity to use it. This is a must-win for G2 here. They want to right the ship.
This was the one that the timeout was about, and you're right. Course correction needed. Beautiful beginning for Valin.
Well, that's a read.
Just a bit of spam, a few bullets, and suddenly GENG are the ones on the back foot.
And now I think you can just stack A. There is no chance that GENG are going to be ending B without the Viper Wall.
Trent, high and mighty, but he's going to be watched for that beautiful instant res online. Jorgamo brings Trent back into the fray. Paranoid over the good connection. That drone is going to be clearing quite a bit. Even a tag. Going to be not allowed to play inside that smoke. Drone for a drone. Getting the tags up. Spotting it into Nest. Trying to get the ping down and trying to get the spam down. G2 looking for a chance to try and flood in here, but it's a forward play by GENG. They've got another plan of action. Lockdown's going to be dropped down. Hunter's Fury going to be used to try and take this one out. The forward position's trying to be played once more. Texture and Charon. Texture dealt with Charon over the top. Dealt with easily enough. Jorgamo now. Put this wall up, sticking this defuse. He's got it to half, and he's brought his team that win con once more. Going for the face, going for the peak, and going for the jugular.
GENG are hyper aware of the way that G2 want to play this one. Ash came in, got the plant, so he had the Hunter's Fury online. That neutralized Leaf's ultimate. And yet, at the end of the day, bodies ended up making the difference. A 5v4, and Jorg's 3K. Shutting down Karen in his top position. Karen has been the danger in these A post plants. He's playing either on top 410 or top A nest, and he's getting up and over that Sage wall. That's what G2 have to be worried about, but they managed to execute and get past him that time. Texture with knives. He's the threat here.
Pit and B main. It's a tricky one to bypass if you are GENG. They get sight of it. They want nothing to do with it. Lombard on the other side, so Jonah P has a lot of peace of mind. No attempt to break it. GENG aiming to take fights towards mid, though.
In this match, every time G2 win rounds, their economy is never flourishing.
No.
GENG always keep it close. And so again, they're coming in with double Guardian and a Bulldog. Valen's trying to take an aggressive fight on A, but with a pretty bad weapon.
Yep. Trent was with him. He's hopped off of it now, potentially missed the timing onto this one. Reaching that minute mark, he's seen a drone for a drone. Just to clear out a bit through mid.
They've given Foxy9 enough space here to use lockdown. He can pop this down on pipes. Really no answer to this.
There it is. G2 forced to clear this one out. They can overstay for a tad. Jorgamo is even squaring up. It's a bit of a challenge, but you've got to respect it.
He looked like he was going to stay there.
Slow orb might be critical in that spot. Just out of dodge there from the vicinity, and here comes the flood attempt. G2 going for it. Straight in, the pit's going to be dropped down. Reactionary from GENG, looking to try and survive him. With it all.
It's before the plant. They're running away to B.
They're running away, and Jonah B, he's pushed out. The initiative has been taken from himself, and the knives almost gone entirely. He's another kill there. Refreshal for 12 seconds. They handed the spike over, and Karen with a TP. The ult has saved them. At least the plan's down for now.
Cover going out.
The Omen finding enormous value, but it's still player disadvantage for GENG. G2 don't exactly know where everybody is, but Trent's in a really pushed up position. This smoke, it's dangerous.
It does. Dangerous situation. A bit of spam from either side to heal. In the back pocket, G2 starting to get a run on, starting to get a move on. Clearing forwards now, knives out, takes Jenning, all gonna miss, but the rifle still is his backup. The movement can't save him. G2! It's clinical.
What a scramble of a round, what a pivot having to be called there towards the end from Munchkin.
Unweave our world.
A miracle really that they got the plant down thanks to Karen's ultimate. But G2 changing things up in terms of how they were defending. Thanks to that Viper's Pit over towards B, they were able to actually kind of flood defend on A. And honestly, as soon as Munchkin used his pit before the plant had gone down, that A push was chalked.
Yeah.
And they were left without too many options. G2 with 2 in a row, both retakes.
Nice, Alex!
Starting to get back into this game. The lead cut down to 2.
Looking for a few more. Bit of spam from Trent, reveals his hand with that one, but this is a heavy emphasis. Look at this, G2 placed up, and that's an off angle out into the open. Any trade inside to Paranoia, swinging, but Cloudburst at the feet, that's going to be some safety. Slow orb. Locking them all down. But critically, no trade from G2.
Jorgamo is 1 away from being able to get a res. But I don't think he's going to be able to get, you know, a kill and somehow recover Jonah P's body. It's really out there in no man's land. The Viper wall, by the way, committed super early on A, despite the fact that GENG were defaulting heavier towards B. But they are regrouping to try to play off that wall. They don't want to just rely on Omen smokes on B.
It's tiny, tiny margins. Barely spotting it out, but sees the rotation now, and Leaf is hard committed. Hard committed indeed, needs some value, needs some kills! Chester Grills getting in the way there, the bars of the jail. Trent is next, on the chopping block, Texture. Taking control and taking over, Karen by his side, make no mistake.
30 seconds left. Spike planted.
G might have lost the past few rounds, Jorgamo though, still trying to get active, but Ash is instantaneous.
Individual moments there, losing the grip for GENG, G2, sorry. I think Leaf tucked up at jail, should have at least been able to get one. Kind of beefed that position slightly. It's an unusual spot, but not to get value. Normally Leaf's good for those. Jorgamo, he's gonna go for a glass cannon op buy. Looking to throw caution to the wind. It is a weird one again for G2's economy.
Drone not broken. Jonah P was hoping to at least feign the intent that it could be holding close. Trent's going to be using one of his own just to clear this one all the way through. That's a heavy push-up.